Want to sleep it away.
Just how many hours a day does she need to sleep, really?
Well, Toonami's changing all that. 3 hours of the best action cartoons around.
Surrender this!
Feel my wrath!
Trouble, look up!
All you gotta do is get up.
Mahoshi, please wake up!
Toonami, the rising sun. Saturday mornings at 10.
Show me what you got!
Only Toonami.
Hi, my name's Chet, and I'm a video game trainer.
Sugar, good. You're thinking of your training table, but we gotta go to work.
You know what a great food for training is? Sugar-coated chicken. Oh, I got a great recipe. Actually, I've got one that's for vegetarians. It's just sugar.
Lift with the legs, Morgan.
Why Blockbuster? They have the latest and greatest in video games.
With an adult Blockbuster membership, you can rent Gran Turismo 3 with an E rating.
Blockbuster, are you game enough?
And the stores smell great.
Optimus Prime, my Predacons will crush you into scrap metal. Take on the Autobots and you'll be the one crushed, Megatron.
Sideburn! S-Ron! Go!
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Transformers, robots in disguise.
Transformers. Each sold separately. Actual transformation time will vary.
Hey, what if this rainbow doesn't exist and it's just in our imagination?
Believe the rainbow. Taste the rainbow.
So I'm not sure I get you.
Give me a real fight.
Any of you guys read that chapter in The Art of War about misdirection?
You don't deserve this power.
What up, people? We are live. I said we. It's me, the chat, and our guest. And we are here today for Saturday. I don't know, Saturday suit up, Saturday morning suit up. I like the morning in it. Morning. Saturday morning suit up. Number 3. Gonna be doing more of these. Get y'all asses in here. Make me keep doing it. Yeah, bro. That's the show. I am the abomination known as AJ. I don't have my camera. I told y'all I was moving to another room. My setup, the garage cold as shit. Right now, during this winter, so I had to move, and I don't have the camera set up yet. So it is what it is. Y'all get my beautiful cartoon face. Okay. And this face is joined by Black Angus. What is up, bro?
Oh, not much. Just happy to be here. Appreciate you inviting me.
Oh, are you happy to be here?
Yeah, no, I'm just feeling cool today.
You don't feel like I'm setting you up or anything? I'm about to throw about like 5 other people on the stream and we jump your ass or something.
I ain't worried.
Nice. All right. So we are joined by the chat. Dempsey. What's up, bro? Drunken Poet. C4C. What up? Do y'all know Black Angus? It's finna roll up. No, not really. Not yet. I'm not rolling. It's in the pipe. What up, Howells? Flaccid Phoenix. Good morning. Good morning, sir. How you doing? Tell some more folks get up in here. Don, get all your gay friends over here. Black Angus, are you one of Flaccid's gay friends?
Yeah, I like Flaccid. I've streamed them before.
That's what's up. What's up, Cannoli Sasquatch? I told my guys because I did tell them I was when I was on your stream going back and forth with Tony, and they came in. A lot of the people in my chat, bro, they are not like diehard Ripper supporters. And so they came over here just talking all this shit towards me, which they usually do. They give me shit. I was like, hold on, bro. Y'all done lost the whole fucking plot when y'all came over here. Y'all on my side. Back me up. And they were just like, nah, we just like the shit show. So it was funny, man. I enjoyed them coming on. Damn, Black Angus, no response. Give me something, bro. You say you were excited to be here. Act like it.
Yeah, no, sorry. You're all choppy. I don't know if it's my internet or not.
Oh, shit. Hold on. Dang, you said I'm choppy. It's got to be the internet or... I don't know. What about now? I just changed one setting.
Yeah,
Seems
you sound a lot clearer now.
On this end, it's just you.
Might be. If it keeps up, I'll just drop out real quick and then come back in. It might be. I just need to redo the StreamYard real quick, possibly. Do I sound clear?
Yeah, you good.
Okay. It might be because I got a download going. All right, that's over. Yeah, let me drop out real quick and I'll hop back in.
All right. What's up, Naggart? No, I'm all alone. I don't know the rest of the song, and I've only heard Donkey sing it, so. Is he flaking on me? Is he leaving people? What up? You in here?
Yeah, it sounds better now.
Okay. Just woke my lazy ass up. All right, man. I'll go ahead and talk to you, Black Angus. Who are you? Tell the people who you are. I don't know if anybody knows you or
yeah.
Just get into it.
My channel is just catch-all pop culture interest. Like to do live streams every Thursday with the Rookie Critic, possibly guests like you and others were this Thursday, unexpectedly somewhat. You and Tony at least. But yeah, I like covering Star Wars when it interests me. Like Ahsoka was so bad it was fun. Comics, like trying to interview comic creators when I have the chance. Had a really good one a couple weeks ago with Godfo Universe. It was like a really fun manga coming out. And yeah, comics, movies mainly. Been Comicsgate, Phantom Menace since like 2018. So pretty long-term OG in this space. I would call myself second gen.
That's why I said I don't know if people know you or not, because I came along after all of you guys on YouTube. And so there's a lot of history that's been revealed to me that I had no knowledge of, or I might have heard things about, but you know, I'm just like, oh, okay, well, that was before my time. Do you want to talk about that stuff at all? Like Phantom Menace, because I don't know what that is. I have an idea, but I've never talked to anybody considered themselves to be the Phantom Menace. That stuff, that movement, I guess.
Yeah, if anyone's like a Friday Night Tights fan, they are, I would say, a rebirth of a lot of channels from the Phantom Menace collective of channels. The top guys started with World Class Bullshitters, Jeff Fick's channel. He started bringing on your boy Zach, who's known for Jawbreakers and the famous Comicsgate case against Mark Waid that he whiffed on at the end when people paid for it. So that was a big thing. He brought EVS in as well. And the High Council was soon formed with him, EVS, and Geeks and Gamers, Jeremy. And started seeing all these channels pop up, or channels that were established, but like found a real niche by aligning with the Bullshitters and the High Council. And yeah, there's been all sorts of drama, infighting in both Phantom Menace and Comicsgate over the years. It's been fun. But we're all still going, so that's good.
Yeah, things evolve, take different forms, but yeah, man, it's I can't say is I guess it's good that y'all are still here in the sense of people are still here doing things, like making it in this world, regardless of the type of content you put out. But yeah, as you were kind of like telling me this stuff, which again, I hadn't heard anything about it. I also don't really seek out all of that stuff, like all the shit that's happening now. I don't seek it out it's in front of all of our fucking faces. And no, I lie. I lie. When I go watch an EVS stream or Tony, I guess I am seeking it out, but I just want to hear thoughts, man. I just want to hear thoughts. I don't want to write y'all off as just pieces of shit that just hate somebody or whatever. I do want to understand where this drive, what instills this drive in y'all or cause y'all to do some of the things that y'all do. But anyway, that's not a real question. I'm just saying. But I did want to talk to you because just like with Mad Max, y'all would have said things in the past, or I've seen videos, or the way your content is, what it looks like. I'm like, man, this is a lot of energy dedicated to people as opposed to a company. But whenever I chose to engage with y'all, it's been respectful. So I'm like, as long as we keep it there, then I have no issue conversing with these people. Because when I do see on Twitter, y'all going back and forth, just like arguing over this shit, then I'm like, okay, when are we going to have an actual conversation about what's going on? Sound like you was about to say something.
No, I'm just laughing because it's like, yeah, no, it's funny if you're like from the outside, you're looking at like, oh wow, they're rabid. It's like,
yeah, y'all wild to both sides.
I won't deny that. Yeah,
yeah, some real Wild West shit. Gang run up in town and big shootout. You see the cartoon, somebody's alcohol or whatever, like mug bottle, whatever they got, shot up, all the holes in it, alcohol pouring out. So that's what I see, man. And I just I'm willing to like jump into in the midst of all this and be like, what's going on here? Where did I hear it from? Oh, Timon from Lion King. Anyway, I just had a moment. But yeah, just kind of on the outside looking in and wanting to have more of these conversations, because I do think when we keep it on the geek shit, it is very entertaining. And a lot more of us could come together, not as friends and holding hands and all that, loving on each other and shit, but at least taking it back to the roots of focused on the nerddom or the geek shit that we indulge in, and having those similarities and talking about those. What are your thoughts on that, man? I wanted to ask you, how did you get into the YouTube? You already told me that, but more so, what is the state of the industry as in the mainstream? That's when it comes to comics, TV, movies, all of that, the stuff that we consume. What are your thoughts on what's going on? And how do you think people like yourself, myself, these guys on the internet, what role will we play in the future, or what would you like to see in the future?
I really think the Trump-Hillary election cycle is a real focal point going forward. It already has been. I think it really will be a moment of history where it's like everything changed with that. Like 9/11 was one with economy and behavior, etc. There's certain things that like future generations will never understand. It was different before this. And I think with entertainment especially, and engagement in social media, that election really changed stuff, because it went right in hand with like Ghostbusters 2016, and then The Last Jedi. Because Ghostbusters is kind of already written off franchise. It's already had its moment. Everyone likes it. And then they kind of perform sacrilege. I hate Ghostbusters, so I don't give a damn. But it sucks for the fans. But it's like, whatever. That's like one franchise, whatever. But then Star Wars happens, Last Jedi. And, it's kind of an extension of Gamergate, which I was not a part of. I don't really do gaming that much.
I don't even know what that is, but I've heard about it.
It's kind of like Phantom Menace with gaming, there was, how do I say it quickly? There was a lot of softballs critically by journalists because there's a lot of women journalists that were like sleeping with creatives to get access, and so it was a lot of like poor journalism, fake journalism essentially, for access and clicks and thus money. So they give them good reviews for bad stuff, misguiding fans, and the fans feel betrayed, and it's all this like cycle. Kind of like a way more egregious thing like the Phantom Menace started with the softballs media gave to Disney in general with they're like using someone like Kelly Marie Tran to shield against criticism of Star Wars, like, well, you just hate women or you hate minorities. And it's like, what? Like, this whole thing is about diversity. But with something like the Has Been Hotel, which I just started watching the day before the stream, I'm about halfway through the first episode. It's like, I don't know if this is for me, but this is all from like an independent creator on YouTube that made a series, whatever, and now she's on Amazon with another series. So
yeah, I've seen some of it.
Yeah, it's like this is for all the bad problems with media, we're at a great point where you got like Comicsgate, you got Kickstarter, Indiegogo. If you're not in Comicsgate specifically, the Has Been Hotel is a great example. There's the kid that they're trying to hire to animate Lego stuff for Spider-Man from the Across the Spider-Verse 2. Yeah, for all the bad problems with media, legacy media and stuff, shielding companies because they say the right politics through their art. There's also the most freedom potentially thus far for creatives. So it's like for every good, there's the same amount of bad. So I don't really think it's different. We just weren't aware. We didn't have the engagement. We didn't have the behind the scenes. We didn't have the access to creatives like we do now. I think that's the real difference today and going forward.
All right, so I heard you talk more so about the people behind the products, or because I know that word turn y'all off, man. The people behind the creative project, or the show, the movie, the comic book, and the journalism. What are your thoughts on? And forgive me if I didn't catch it because I had some dogs like barking or whatever. But your thoughts on what they are. I guess let's talk about the pushing of the diversity and the woman stuff. And I don't want to say the pushing of diversity, but I know you just said Star Wars is that what you meant when you said this is about diversity, like different people or different groups, species or whatever? Is that how, did I interpret that the right way? Is that what you were trying to say?
I guess I'm being specific. It's like I would say the problem is the disingenuousness of it. It's a lot of checking the boxes, and then when it fails because they aren't focused on like art, especially for established franchises, and more about agenda, then it's like you've set up all these, like Kelly Marie Tran's kind of a no-name before Star Wars, and like you shoved her into something she didn't belong in, made a character that was bad for this franchise. And so she's going to get the brunt of it, of the chagrin of fans, and so it doesn't help them to have a meritorious type of entrance into entertainment. And so it turns people off. And I think part of it is like orchestrated for controversy to get, eyes on and to try to for lack of a better term, like woke scold people into submission or to like just force them out of engagement. You're trying to artificially change their fan bases to like be in line with whatever narratives, and I think it's a problem, and it's not good art.
As opposed to doing it organically and just putting the characters out there.
Yeah, like George Lucas cast a black man for the voice of his villain because it's like, dude, you're like the best voice for this. It wasn't like, you're a black guy, I need to get a black guy for this show. It was it's like, you're the best. If you'll accept this, you're the best choice.
What did you tell me you're half black?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the other half?
I'm white.
Okay. Why you could have threw your culture in there. I know y'all like to get
I'm registered Cherokee, Nation of Oklahoma, but it's like, you know, fragmentary genetics. It's more of like legacy than actual substantial genetics.
All right, so talk to me about that. You are a colored person, and Black Angus. I'm be honest with you, okay? Be honest. When I hear you talk like with the Ryan Roger show, and I've listened to you talk before. I was a subscriber to you before you did the interview with Ryan Roger, but I didn't feel that the rhetoric, although it wasn't disrespectful, it wasn't anything that I actively wanted to listen to. Because when I do hear you, if I'm recalling correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, when I did hear you speak on some things, it seemed like you would have the opposite opinion, or anyway, I'm just going to say an opinion that I don't agree with. So you, as a mixed person, colored person, whatever you want to call it, how do you feel about it? Because that's what got me into YouTube, was seeing how they was using my skin color for their projects and the deflecting of criticism. So how do you feel about the portrayal of more people like you? Did you like Echo? I'm just playing. I didn't watch Echo. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I haven't watched it. I'm trying to make Rookie watch it with me.
So how you feel about that, man? I know you talked about the diversity already, but it's like I take it real personal because I am this person that you are saying hasn't been in these franchises, need to be put there, but then you give me a shit character at the same time, but then somehow still say I'm racist if I don't like the character. So is that enough? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I honestly don't care what race is on screen nowadays. When there's a obviously like white majority fan base of certain, like Lord of the Rings, it's a European, it's a British specifically, you know, neo mythology that Tolkien made. Well, not to say that it has to be white, but it's like that's been the fan base mostly, even though it is kind of beloved around the world. And then when you do like Rings of Power and you're making black elves and black dwarves, it's like, well, like all the representation we've seen before is like, oh, it's like Euro mythology, Euro medieval mythology. So you're talking about like white people, and then like you would expect the diversity to be from the other lands in the mythology of Middle Earth, the other, I guess, continents or whatever, like the mercenaries in Return of the King. And so when you're like plugging that, and then it's like this is in the same universe, even if they can't really touch like the Warner Brothers stuff, the films, it just asks questions like, wait, what happened to all the black people? It's like you've just added like an unnecessary problem. Like Star Wars, like, yeah, it's totally open. It's just been like mainly white because Lucas is hiring people in England mostly for extras and stuff. Like Peter Mayhew, for example, being Chewbacca, even though he's under a mask. Yeah, I have no problem. It's just now when I see any racial casting in an established franchise that's not really been diverse, it's like, all right, I kind of see like you're artificially plugging, or like you see commercials. I noticed this before people really started talking about it. When I saw like, I think Jurassic World, like 2016, I think 15, I noticed like all these trailers or commercials for like Dove or Coke, and it'd be like, oh, here's like a mixed family, a black dad and mixed kids, a white woman, or maybe Asian wife, and it's like I see like every commercial now, or every ad. It's like it's crazy. It's like this is just not reality, man. And apparently, foreign people see this and like, man, there's lots of black people in America. It's like, no, it's like 13% of the population, or like Asians, I think it's like 7%, but they're rising. You would expect them to plug lots of like Mexicans or Latin people, if anything, given they're the most substantial minority in this country and rising because of immigration and illegal immigration.
Real quick, just something I noticed when you see a gay couple, like dudes, it's always a black dude. Yeah. It's always a black dude and a white guy.
That too. There's some ad I see on Hulu repeatedly of like, I don't know, some like I think AIDS prevention medicine, and it's like a bunch of black guys and
mostly
then, like,
black people.
a trans person, and that trans might be black too. And it's just like that. What like?
Look, that shit happened, and then I see the Coco Melon little trailer where they had the two.
Oh,
dads.
that too. It's like, man, you know, yeah. It's like I'm bi. You know, I like ladies mostly, but you know, I'll play around. And it's like I see this, and it's like, why can't you show like just normal guys? Like that's why I love The Last of Us episode 3 with their representation of gay people. Because it's like, wow, this is nuance. You got like essentially like they're like villainizing a flag loving America, gun toting, conspiracy theorist, MAGA kind of guy, and then it's like he's gay. And I'm like, yes, this is nuance. This is what we need. An actual range of like, just because you're a demographic does not mean you are in a political monolith. And that was so nice to see. And then you see our like collective side, like, this is woke. Don't let your kids watch. And it's like, why would you let your kids watch Last of Us to begin with? It's about like murder and zombie death. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, that's my chagrin. It's like, because of like there seems the ESG, the DEI stuff, these kind of like racist or classist mandates, you know, it's very obvious. And so it like makes me roll my eyes when I see various representation. It's like they probably didn't earn it. It's like a mandate now. And so it just turns me off. You know, I never would watch something. My favorite character as a kid and still probably now is Darth Maul. He's a Dathomirian. He's not even real. That's like, that's my guy. I want to be that guy. He's fake. It doesn't matter who's under the skin or if, you know, what gender. It's weird stuff that they've like pushed to the forefront. You know, I think it only hurts actual cohesive diversity of ethnicity and class and whatnot. That's my irritation with it.
Man, you said a few things that I wanted to respond to. The first thing was the Game of Thrones, when you're like, they're just putting people in there when it would make sense if there's like a race of people and they're like outside of those the main characters that you see. I think you were talking about Tolkien's work. But then, and that made me think about like the Dornish people from Game of Thrones, or who was it? The other people who were with what's Emilia Clarke's character out of Daenerys?
She's over in Essos.
Yeah, I don't forgot now, but like those people, and I was like, okay, this makes sense. You know, people probably have issues with the positions, I guess, that the colored people, I don't know, that's the quickest word I can think of. So the colored folks in Game of Thrones, but I'm like, well, it does make sense though. It is a group of them, or, you know, this is their culture. This is that race, that people, as opposed to what I see from, what is it, House of the Dragon, where you got these black people sprinkled into all these other white families and cultures. And I'm like, this shit don't make no sense. And it's clearly forced. And I'm like, that's the disrespectful stuff that, again, made me really want to start the YouTube and talking about it. But particularly with the Game of Thrones, it's like these people will preach like the diversity and yada yada yada. We need more of that, but they're not honest about it. They don't make it make sense. So the Corlys dude from from House of Dragon, I said, I think
good.
Man, he's cool, but I would rather have seen him play somebody authentically black and not be some race swap character. Because at the same time, you had, I think, the Wakanda, what was it, the second movie? That's disgusting. That's another issue I have with Disney and this whole pushing the diversity. But, you know, I think there should have been a Black Panther series to come out where we explore more characters. And I'd said Brother Voodoo was a character that you could introduce, and then you could explore more of the mysticism of the Black Panther universe. And then that guy, instead of playing this white character, was supposed to be you know, a pale character in this race swap that's been handed to him. He could have been fighting to play something like that. Now I understand these actors don't know all these characters. They're not about to go into deep dives of every fucking character that they play or possibly want to play. They probably should, But
that's another thing that's like unfair to the actors is when you like race swap and they're actors, so they largely are not going to be comic knowledge. So like, wow, I got callback for an audition because they didn't say like, hey, white guy, this age bracket, apply or whatever, if it, like Heimdall, Idris Elba is amazing as Heimdall, but it's like my knowledge of Asatru or Odinism, which is like modern pagan reconstructive religion. It's like there's an ethnic tie to this religion. It's not that you're barred ethnically from embracing these gods, if you wish, but the representation, it's European, it's Nordic. And so when you're adding Asians and blacks into Norse mythology characters, even though, yes, it's comics, so you can, have that escape clause, it's like you wouldn't do this to Wakanda. It's even if it's like additional people in the cast, you wouldn't white up or Asian up or Arab up any Wakandans. And that disingenuous double standard really irritates me because if anything, Thor should have more respect because, like, even though Black Panther's iconic for black character iconography, kind of first of its kind in the pop culture sphere for comics, they don't give that respect to actual religion-based characters of white people, or even the ancient one, which I think Tilda Swinton did great in Doctor Strange. But then I learned, that is like an Asian guy, and it turns out they're like, well, we didn't want to cast an Asian because we didn't want to be racist and stereotypical. But then it's like, well, you just gave it to a white person. That's kind of more racist, given your own logic. But George R.R. Martin, I think, was behind let's make some of them black. So it's like the creative's behind it. He wants to kind of adapt his story differently from how he wrote it originally. So I can make peace with that versus like Heimdall, for example.
That made me think about who's Captain Falcon, Anthony Mackie. How he got into the MCU. He initially went after he won the role of the Mandarin. I'm just like, bro, I'm so tired of you black folks just accept any kibble thrown at you, man. And so yeah, that was weird. He was trying to be the Mandarin, but he ended up becoming Falcon, and he should have stayed Falcon. But yeah, that's more of the disrespect that I see from this company, and really just makes me want to. I would truly want Disney to pay for their sins. I think they should, because I think the social engineering that they have been, I guess, the main spearheaders in doing, it truly is evil. A lot of the stuff that they're pushing, as well as just the mentality of, like you were saying, the forced diversity as opposed to it happening organically. And, these people that look different being involved in these groups actually belong there. They have something to contribute. They can hang with those around them, their peers, instead of just bringing color. But you're totally disregarding their opinions. Like Ryan Coogler and who was the executive producer dude? I can't think of his name. But it's like the shit that I see happen in those Black Panther movies, I disagree with. They were not good to me. I don't even like Black Panther as a character, though. I mean, he's cool. He's not one of my favorites. But I'm just like, this shit is whack. Like, this is not my Black Panther if I was to claim one. But like seeing the stuff that they would do in that movie, but then they hide behind, like some people would say they cast these people. I think they casted Ryan Coogler, for instance. So they'll hide behind, well, this black guy made it. So if you have issues with this black portrayal, then blame goes to him. But it's like, how much creative involvement or how much say so, how much control did he actually have? Or was he presented with some ideas that y'all wanted him to make sure that he got in the movie? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I got a video long ago I did about Black Panther, and it's like irritating because it's like in between the film coming out and then like the Oscar nomination talk. And so I missed like a good window to make my videos just like a passion video of like, fuck Black Panther movie. Because like his introduction in Civil War is like he is kind of the heart of the movie. Aside from the fight of Tony and Cap, he's kind of like the secondary story that you're invested in, and it's his introduction. It's amazing.
And I disagree with that. I hate that it happened, but continue.
That's kind of crazy. I really like Black Panther and Civil War, and then the next movie is so confused because it's like a BLM movie, and also it Black Panther's a confused character the way they sell him because he's African, but then they're selling it to Black Americans who have 400 years of separation from the motherland.
Yeah.
And so we have there's totally two demographics, but then they're like, it's all full of rap, American style rap, and then like maybe little sound bites of like little African style instruments or something. It's such a hodgepodge corporate kind of creation. I've read articles about like Africans thought it was silly. Even the stylistic inclusion is like such a hodgepodge. It's kind of offensive because it's like all these different tribes hate each other.
Yeah.
I really hate like racial collectivism, especially when I see like American blacks talk about it. It's like, you see Africa? Like Africa's got all these black nations, black controlled governments. They're having all these genocides against each other in tribal wars for years. This idea of like just identifying with Killmonger, which like he is an engaging villain. I get his motivation, but it's like, no, if you actually believe this like racial collectivist idea, it's like, it's not going to work. Look at that continent, almost completely full of black people. They're always fighting without any colonial historic involvement. People fight, look at Japan and China, they're cousins. Korea and China, everyone kills each other. History of Europe, where racial collectivism is silly because as soon as you make a border or you're on one side of a mountain, the other side's not you. So fuck them. That's just how humanity works. And just this silly message, I think it's like it's harmful for unity in this country to like promote that.
You had said something about they wouldn't whiteify or they wouldn't put more pale people in Wakanda. So, the race swaps doesn't work in the other direction. And I've said in my video talking about the whole Black Panther thing and this fake representation that I would much rather had seen in a perfect MCU for me. There would be no conversation about who gets the shield. Cap would still have the shield. We would still be seeing those legacy heroes. But then Bucky will become the White Wolf. And as I'm doing research for the video, because I don't watch a lot of Marvel content anymore, I found out that he actually called himself the White Wolf in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then, T'Challa had pulled out the arm. So they gave him a new vibranium arm. And he was like, go take this to the White Wolf. So I'm like, this company, they lack direction or actual goals, I think, besides more women. Because you set the foundation or these seeds for all of this cool shit to be implemented into the story and just never use it. And I think it would have been a much powerful story, or I want to see that series where Bucky is the White Wolf and you have T'Challa as the Black Panther in the suit, and then M'Baku in the gorilla suit, because it was a lot of confusion shit about the herb and all that. That shit wasn't real. They just tried to get real mystical because purple drink and whatnot. But those suits was working without the herb. And Dempsey said it like in the chat, like he was Black Panther before his movie, before the whole the spiritual, the ritual and all that shit where he got the powers. So those suits work without people having that flower. And I would have wanted to see a power team showing like true brotherhood. M'Baku and T'Challa didn't like each other, but he saved them. Okay. The country thinks Bucky killed T'Chaka, but he's on his whole redemption arc and he's this white guy over there, with them. So I would have wanted to see that story. And I think you could have tackled the whole race thing that they want to. And my bad, rookie critic, I see this. I just didn't want to stop the point. But yeah, it's like if you really want to talk about racism or say we need to talk about that more, all right, well, let's do it, but let's be honest about it and make it impactful, as opposed to trying to blame people as, you know, an oppressor or a villain or all my woes are your problem.
That's interesting you say that, because that's probably my biggest problem with the Falcon Winter Soldier story. So a whole bunch, but oh man, the point's like right there, and I lost it. It's like not quite. It'll come back to me.
You want me to?
I want to address. Let me see him in the chat. It was Jay Gooch, Diabolical Souls. He says Black Panther's one of the top tier heroes. Disagree. Black Panther, regardless of like trying to represent Black people, whatever. He's kind of like the go-to. People jump at him, they forget Blade.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with Black Panther, conceptually, at least in the MCU, is like he's not engaging because there's no challenge to the Black Panther, whether it's T'Challa or not. Someone's going to be Black Panther. Unlike Spider-Man, he has a balance he's trying to maintain. If he's Spider-Man, his life sucks as Peter Parker in some way. He's not investing in his relationships. He's missing out on work opportunities. He's missing school, versus Black Panther is like someone's going to be this. It's a hierarchy. It's a title. It's a role that the king takes as well as head of state of Wakanda. And so there's no like loss to his character that is endearing for superheroes, the dual identity. It's like it's one, it's completely melded together for Black Panther. And there's no like challenge like say Homelander, where it's like he's got his private life, everyone knows who Homelander is and all the seven, but then they have like their dirty secrets that they're trying to scrape under the rug. There's really not really any of that, and I don't know if they've really ever engaged that, and that's why he's not really, besides Black character, he has no real iconography story wise, and I think that's why the concept is flimsy.
I think he does have the iconography, but like what I was saying earlier, he's never been my favorite character. Like, he's Black, cool. I mean, the Panther thing was cool because I'm into like werewolves and supernatural shit.
Yeah,
but I was like,
awesome.
Yeah, but I was like, it's a suit. I never see him turn into a fucking panther or something. I know he's done it time to time, but it wasn't typically something that he did. So I was like, and this dude, some king. I was like, I'm not a king, okay? I'm not attaching myself to all that we was kings and shit. Probably. Some of us were slaves too. But I'm saying, like, I'm a dude in America, okay? So I identify more with, somebody like Spider-Man, who's, like a nerd at school. I wasn't too nerdy. Like, I was cool with everybody. But it's like, still, I definitely understood, some people didn't like me. Some people had issues with me. So I did still understand getting shit from people at school, and then you go home and then you got problems that you run into there and whatnot. So that character was more relatable to me as opposed to this king just handling business. I've been listening to y'all too long. But yeah, handling his business over Wakanda as a king. Let me address the rookie critic, because he was the only person that was fair when I was on that stream with y'all and was having the conversation.
Wow, I thought I was being pretty fair, honestly.
I was waiting on you to respond. Nah, man. All right, let me address rookie. Appreciate you.
I said, don't ask. I said, don't ask. No questions. Just give the money.
What is that from?
Money. Don't Be a Menace to South Central, Trinkio Jews in the Hood. The Wayans brothers movies.
Wayans. Okay, I'm gonna look that up. I do like I love In Living Color. I grew up with that. My mom would get the DVD sets of that, and it's like Black SNL and Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Tim said, did you like Bast? I like Bast. And I said this in my video too. Another reason why I wasn't gonna go watch that goddamn Wakanda movie. Yeah, not black confirmed. That half ain't it ain't really doing much for you right now. But I refused to watch that movie because it was purely we're gonna make him die the same way he did in real life to get some type of emotional reaction from people. And I was like, that don't make no fucking sense. This is Bast's vessel. Like, could we not pray to this broad to heal this man of this disease, or at least send us on a fucking journey to figure out how to cure this disease? And while I'm having this thought, while I'm thinking this, and again, doing research for this video, I see that Bast in her human presenting form or whatever is over in Thor Love and Thunder, and she's sitting like right next to Mighty Thor and King Valkyrie. So I was like, this broad is sitting here at this meeting with these white folks, and her black vessel is dying from a sickness, and she don't give a fuck, and ain't nobody calling on her name to save them. But that was just hilarious to me.
Yeah, it's funny because me and Ricky, because I love talking and learn about religion, and it's one thing that really irritates me that I've seen comics talk about in Marvel Comics, whatever religion a character believes in is valid, and that is like their in game spiritually will be like their belief in heaven and hell or whatever, afterlife. And what's interesting is that I don't know about the comics. I know in like a newer X-Men after Powers and House of 10, they have like some cults that are like worshiping the mutants as like superior gods, or trying to like ingest mutants to try to like get their powers, like very like archaic tribal thinking with religion, which is very interesting. But in like Marvel, it's like, oh, you have like, this fiction mythology of the Norse people, Thor and Odin, and then it's like, oh, they're real and they're on Earth fighting aliens, and then no one in the world is like worshiping them, no one's worshiping Thanos, as like maybe like a death god or something, which like he's very real, he wiped out half of us around the universe, and there's no like religious reckoning in the MCU, and because they're playing it safe, and it's like, oh, everything's just still the same, like your real reality. I think that's like, oh man, you could have a whole Game of Thrones kind of like diving into like this affecting society, new gods like the Lord of Light, upending the new kind of Catholic Church with the seven in that world. And it's just like a real missed opportunity because they're trying to just, appeal to every demographic and not offend anybody. And it's like, I think that's a real missed opportunity creatively to address like the religious aspect of these beings.
So it's funny that you say that, because
Bast is real.
Bast is very real, bro. I was so pissed when I saw her sitting in that chair right behind them, with no agency. Again, can't intervene with what's happening with her vessel. You made me lose my fucking thought though.
Sorry.
What was we talking about? Okay. As far as like religion being real in this MCU, I've said that the best, I think, female character as far as like some shit they changed or pushed was Hela. I hate the Thor Ragnarok movie, but Hela I think she was an amazing villain. And I think it was more so of how the lengths that she will go, and it wasn't like a, oh, woe is me type thing. It kind of was at the same time, like with the changes that they did give her. But I do like that idea of, you're saying like actual consequences, or you live out your afterlife, or based off of what you believe. And she was the leader or the ruler of hell, where people die. I don't think they have to be good or evil necessarily to die in Norse mythology, but they just go there in the afterlife. So yes, I would have been excited to see more of that, the spirituality of it, as well as like a Black Panther. But I think all of that kind of says to me, I would prefer or want to see people that actually believe in the world that they are selling us on, and actually think it through. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, like when Love and Thunder shows the whole like plot to come for Thor with Hercules and Zeus, and it's like, I've gotten into Hellenism. Like I've told you, I'm an atheist, but like that's just like to keep it simple. I've gotten into Hellenism, which is like the ancient like Greek, gods, religion, reconstruction of modern day. They're bringing it back in Greece. Paganism's coming back all across Europe, which I think is great. Yeah, for me, like I would, if I was adapting that, I'd be like, what? No, we can't just do like, silly comics. Hercules is a character. Like, no, he's a fucking demigod. He's the son of a god, and this is epic. I would go very like 300 or Gladiator or Alexander angle of like majesty, representing that reverence, because it's like people really through history have worshipped, and it's coming back, still worshiping these gods. And that's just one religion of many that intersects mythologically in Marvel Comics. And I think and even Bast with Black Panther, which is rooted in like Egypt, the worship of Bast. There's a whole thing you could do with that for its own project. Moon Knight has these Egyptian gods, and it's just like, oh yeah, here's like a boss that imbues you, and that's kind of it. And it's like, it's so underwhelming to like invest in the world.
Yeah, I want more from them, and that's why, a reason that I kind of checked out a long time ago is just they just didn't make sense. The inconsistency with characters, like somebody was saying in the chat earlier, Black Panther was way better in Civil War than in his own movies, which I agree with. I think the same with Spider-Man. He was way better in Civil War than his movies, but I only watched Homecoming and I walked out of that movie and I said, no more, I can't do this. But yeah, the inconsistency with these characters. And I think that's one of my main issues with the mainstream is so corporate, or treated like a company and making money, I guess, as opposed to making magic and what it's supposed to be doing. So when you see like all of these different people handling these characters, but they're within the same universe, but handled differently, I guess it takes a real fan of these franchises out of the picture. And that's an issue with comics as well that I've had, where you do have like an event going on, but different people writing different stories from a character, and then when you have some of these crossovers, you're like, well, this could happen. Of course, whatever the writer, they say it could happen, but it's like none of these characters are behaving how they would. So yeah, that's been an issue that I've had for a long time, and I think because the MCU has like, what I want to say, propelled forward in time and depicting more recent stories, I think they're adopting those same issues of inconsistency with characters or with the universe and the oversaturation of all these characters so that it doesn't mean anything. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it. It's inconsistent. Like for instance, Hela, I was really excited. I was hoping that, because in the Infinity Gauntlet story, I don't know if you've read it, but it's a weird one to read because I'm a novice, so I don't know all the backstory to all these different storylines of the characters to that point. But it's a great like hodgepodge of Marvel characters, and the whole thing is it's actually just a Silver Surfer and him crossing Thanos, and Thanos kind of toying with him, and then Thanos getting the stones. And then you get to Infinity Gauntlet, he's got the gauntlet, he snaps right at the beginning, and all of this is in reverence to the personification of death, Miss Death. I want to say is her name, or Lady Death. No, it's not Lady Death, that's Chaos, but yeah, Mistress Death. And that, so he's trying to win her affection and thus like marriage with her. And so he's trying to do this great feat all at once. And so she won't talk to him before because he hasn't like earned it, but then he does a snap and now he's beyond her. So she's like too ashamed to talk to him. So he loses either way. It's kind of sad for Thanos, but I was hoping they would have retooled Hela to be Mistress Death, Yeah. And I was really excited. And then it's like, oh, they just killed her. And it's like, I mean, it's a comic character. She's a goddess, so she could pop back up with some, comic explanation, but I was really disappointed but I love what they did with him, and just that was the complete focus, this like religious devotion to his idea. But I would love it to have some like maybe that's another problem with Marvel and modern entertainment is like you know, it's very sexless. You know, I've noticed this in Star Wars too. Like the only people that seem to have sex in progeny have problems. You know, it's like maybe this weird subconscious thing that Lucas was conveying unknowingly, this kind of shame of sex or something. I don't know. It's like, I mean, yeah, sex is definitely tied with like sin and desire and temptation, but it's also, you know, some of the best writings in the Bible of like describing God's love are sexual, you know, to convey the message to us. So it goes both ways. And I think that they're stuck in this puritanical kind of feminist aversion to sex.
Yeah, I understand your issue of not having the sex, but I think their power comes from being able to control the sex and to withhold and not give the goods to the man. So I see more of that as to why. And then the men are all soft and whatnot, so they're not about to get the sex. Nah, man, I feel you though. I think more people should not the sex thing particularly, but relationships. I don't see relationships happening.
Yeah, sorry. When I say sex, I meant like the whole kind of synopsis. But yeah, I meant relationships, but it's easier just like, yeah, sex in general as a concept.
So that makes me think about Lightyear. I still haven't seen that movie. I don't plan on watching it, but do you remember what was happening with the Lightyear movie?
Yeah, I know they had a gay kiss and everyone freaked out about it. But apparently I agree with freaking out as in the sense of like, if you're going to do it, actually make it substantial to the character. You know, if you're really making art and you want to like include beyond heteronormativity, then actually have balls and make that like the forefront. Don't do like Lightyear and don't do like Rise of Skywalker where you film a quick scene that can get cut for China and Sri Lanka and Islamic countries. You know, if you really believe it, say like they did this with Beauty and the Beast. Because they have that like kind of trans I guess or drag character that you see, like he puts on the dress and he's like, oh boy, I'm finally me. That's like what they convey in the live action.
I don't know. I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, it's really quick, but there's like this one guy that like he gets in a dress because it's like it's supposed to be a gag, you know, but it's like he through his emotions that he emotes, it's like, oh, this is me. This dress is me, you know. And I think he ends up like dancing in like the ballroom scene. He's dancing with another guy versus everyone else is dancing like hetero couples. And so there's a little coding there. And so I want to say Sri Lanka and some other countries were like going to ban it unless they got rid of it or gave them a cut that didn't have that. And Disney like gave them the bird, like, screw you. You're going to play our movie how it is or you're not getting it. And it's like, yeah, good job, Disney. Stick to your guns. But then like, well, God, we got to get Star Wars across $1 billion. Can't let the Phantom Menace have a win. So they cut that scene to get the money in China, whatever scraps they could get over there. That's what I hate. It's like these people fall for the diversity stuff. Some LGBT people see through it. I've seen Grace Randolph talk about it. And I give her props for that of like, you know, this like queer baiting, but then like you don't actually have ball sticks. You're trying to appeal to every demographic to get the most cash, you know, and that's a problem to me more so than the inclusion is most people are going to get triggered in our sphere of our niche on the internet because you put gay in there. That's grooming. And it's like, my view is like, I'm totally fine with it. Actually stick to your guns. If you believe this, have some integrity and take whatever monetary loss you might in certain countries, or certain people are going like, well, I'm not seeing it because you're doing something outside of my religious purview or something, which is like totally fine. You have that, but you're not watching it, I guess.
I do agree with that. As in, if you're going to preach it and say you care about it, then be serious. Like, do it honestly. Like, really show it. Don't just race bait or gay bait, queer bait, whatever.
Yeah, queer bait's the term for it.
But then I think then the conversation goes to, well, what should be allowed and what not? Because yes, a lot of people will say that kids are watching this stuff and they don't want the kids watching any gay stuff. And again, that's a weird conversation that I haven't really had with anybody too in depth. But it's like, okay, well, then gay people will say, but you letting your kids watch straight people kiss. So it's still sexual in nature.
Yeah.
And then the conversation turns into, okay, well, that sexual act, we shouldn't show it at all. So I'm like, I think it's a conversation that needs to be had, because we did grow up with, I don't know if the characters were outright gay, but they were definitely, they had those traits.
Coded.
Yeah. So they had that. And I'm like, I am not opposed to that. I definitely am a Christian. I don't know what to call it. I follow Christ. I wouldn't want those things to be shown, but I think as an artist, I am depicting the world around me. And if I can show it, but not emphasize these things or parade around like, ooh, I put this in there, yay me, then I think it should be more acceptable with the characters and the things that you like show. Like, for instance, and I've been battling with having a trans character in one of my projects because it is mainly a kid audience, but the way I would do it wouldn't be like chopped off titties or a flag or something. It's just the way I present the animal character, because this is with my ferrets and my little animal kid show. But it's just like how I depict the animal. So like you'll see differences without giving it away. Let's say like a peacock. So a male peacock is all vibrant, has the beautiful tail feathers, plume, all that type of shit, and the females don't. So it's like in making decisions like that, I will be able to get that message across. And I don't think kids will be able to pick up on it, but I would hope that adults would be able to see that and be like, oh, I see what this artist is doing, how he's depicting that in his work, but not exposition about it, more so just presenting that, but then treating it as normal. It's just a thing that happens. We don't have to emphasize it or dwell on it. Let's keep on moving with the story, with the actual focus.
Yeah, no, I like that. I have that reservation too, because I have a character I want to include in Meth Gear at some point. It's a shapeshifter, and my favorite adult stars tend to be of the like you probably saw that Roger stream. I like I like the tea ladies, and it's like
what.
I don't have an agenda. I don't have an agenda to like try to turn you, like you've seen argued about certain websites trying to algorithmically influence you. But it's like, it's like dealing with like can I include this? Because like this is me. This is like my interest. I'm not pushing an agenda. But it's like an interest, but then it's like, oh, the reaction would be, oh, he's forcing an agenda, or it's he's bait and switching us or something. And it's like, it's like, do you really care about art if you're trying to like if you're gonna like turn your back on an artist because they have a thing that they're interested in, whether it's that or like someone's like Rick and Morty is very, I'd say, atheistic, and so people get triggered by that because of like this is really the thoughts of like the creatives, and it's like, so you just want Christian propaganda at that point. It's like that's not art either, because then it's just you're forcing it into the story inorganically.
Yeah, man, that's where I kind of and I say I battle with it, but it's like I'm gonna put the character in it because I like the character and it's based off someone that I actually met in real life. And so yeah, man, I think with that message, I would hope that I would be telling people watching it that respect and still care about those different individuals around you, and just leave it at that. Just treat them like people. But then, we would see this, and most shows would tell you that, like, we grew up, I don't know how old you are, but definitely in the 90s when you got all these diverse groups of kids, fighting bad guys and all that type of shit. It's like it was organic. They just had different homies around them, but they had a common goal. They was looking out for one another. So that was cool, but also my parents and my upbringing telling me to, love one another, other human beings, respect people. So I'm like, as a creative, I can't do all the fucking work, people. Okay, you got to go and tell your kids what y'all want them to engage with and not. But I guess how to be objective, how to look at things, inform an opinion, and not just assume one way or the other. Based off of something that you might see, learn how to interpret things or figure out what's going on.
Yeah, like there's what do you call it? People love, what's that Patrick Swayze movie, Dirty Dancing. I think that's like the first film that had an abortion plot in it, and no one talks about that being a woke movie. It's like every girl loves that movie, and it's like that has like a messaging in it. I wouldn't even say it's messy. It's just like a plot of like reality that some women are going to do this, and if you're just going to like hide it, I think it serves the story. I think I haven't seen it in years, but I'm aware of that after the fact of like, oh yeah, that's like the first abortion plot in a film. It's like, oh wow, that's crazy.
Tim says Dirty Dancing is a pedo love story. I haven't seen it. It's not anything I'm interested in. But since we talking about gay shit, Black Angus, you brought it up, not me. Perfect time for this question. Who is your favorite Disney princess, sir?
Oh wow, yeah, Pocahontas. Pocahontas. Yeah, I was a big Lion King kid and Toy Story, and then probably third would be Pocahontas. And
because representation reasons.
No, I never grew up with like I was aware that like so my parents divorced, so it's like given that my dad was black. Even though I didn't really have like a deep invest relationship with like conscious mind, because I divorced when I was 6, so I didn't really have like awareness of like bonding versus like when you're a child, it's like implicit and you don't really think about it. But because of that familiarity, I always wanted my mom to like find another black guy for a stepdad, just so that familiarity, I guess. And cool. So that was already like a mental block with like my stepdad because he's white, eventually it's like whatever, but like that was just a coded thing from childhood, I guess. I guess you say I was a racist child, I guess. But yeah, I never actually grew up with like race as an idea at all, besides like imagery of like my dad's black, so I want that for like another father figure, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, it was never like, oh, that's an Indian, Angus. You're part Indian, so you gotta like that. It was never a thing. And then Belle would probably be the other princess movie I really liked but it's because of Beast, because I love like monsters, and so I watched it to see Beast. And so I was sad when he turned into a human, because like, oh, now he's just a boring human, Yeah. I've always related to the Beast in movies, always liked him. Like Alien, I'm rooting for the alien. Jurassic Park, I'm rooting for the dinosaurs. I love the monsters. So I love that people like Guillermo del Toro grew up like that too and made Shape of Water, where he's like, oh, this movie is rooting for the monster. Yeah, Pocahontas is just like, I don't know, it's just like she's out in the woods. It's just like, I want to do that. When I was a kid, it's like I had no idea of like, well, that's a girl in the sense of like, well, you can't really cosplay as that because that's girl and that'd be gay. It was just like, I'd be Pocahontas, because like she's having fun, she's running in the woods. Like, I want to do that.
Man, I've seen some dope what's the gender bent cosplays.
It's probably not hard with Pocahontas.
No, but I'm saying you definitely can do it now. So
oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, you said back then your mom would have called you gay, but now
yeah, Powerpuff Girls, like I showed Ricky that. It's like this is totally a boys show with girl characters, but the older generation just sees like you're watching girls, that's gay. And it's like, no.
I can't honestly remember any kid around me. Of course, it was a boy that watched Powerpuff Girls. Not even a girl, though. I can't think of anybody else that watched Powerpuff Girls.
I don't know any girl when I was a kid that watched Powerpuff Girls.
But I know and this was shit, even in me getting older, nobody really cared for cartoons the way I did. So they'll be like, it's like from a kid to a teenager to when I was in my mom's house at like 21, people would come in. They're like, "Bro, you still watching this childish ass shit?" I'm like, "Yes, I fucking love it, bro. Why you judge
It's
it?"
great because besides like I would say like I grew up with the Batman cartoon and Justice League and the X-Men cartoon on like WB, but I wasn't really aware of comics and comic stores and like all of that. And so it's funny being aware, like my first real awareness of like comics are a thing and these are interconnected stories was I saw Iron Man, that was cool. I saw Captain America at some point, and I went to the theater to see Thor. I'm like, oh, that's cool, but I had no awareness they were connected. And then I saw Avengers, I'm like, oh, they're all like going to be a team. Whoa! And then I joined the army, and I start going to comic stores. And so my awareness came as an adult. So it's funny to watch Powerpuff Girls in hindsight with all of like superheroes taking over the box office and culture, and seeing like, oh wow, they're like playing on this thing from DC or this thing from Marvel. It's like it's so fun in retrospect. So Powerpuff Girls has a real stay power for comic fans.
Did you just go out like your audio?
No, I'm right here.
Oh, okay. Man, that's funny because I was I taught kids and I would get comics, comics for all of my students, but I would notice, the boys like the Star Wars and the heroes and whatnot. And I was like, but I want to, I'm all about the equality and I got to get something for the girls too. And then that's when I started getting them like My Little Pony and Powerpuff Girls specifically, and like Sonic comics that would like feature. I like those new characters, Tangled and Whisper, but
Tangled's great. Yeah.
So they got their little female teams over there. And I was like, man, I hope I don't open this book and these little animals kissing each other, these girls. But nah, man, that didn't happen. They was just friends. They was homies. But yeah, man, I started getting my students that the girls, I let them see that. And then when the boys were interested, I was like, yes, bro, like don't be afraid to like this shit. And then I showed them the movie. And the class is mostly boys, and all of the boys, like everybody's just sitting there like stuck, like, oh my God, these girls are powerful. And then but yeah, my boys were like, oh snap, it's over. Like, do you have the show, the episode? So I was like, yeah, man, that's cool, man. Y'all liking what you like. You're not fearing the judgment of those around you. These weren't no hood kids either, though. So that plays a part into why. But yeah, I let them, they was checking out the Powerpuff Girls and, liking that. And just like you were saying, like these are, I guess you were thinking like these were based off of, or the other guys were kind of like based off of them because you've seen Powerpuff Girls first. But it's like kids making that connection of, I just see heroes, they got powers, and they kicking ass.
Yeah, it's all a boy template with girl characters.
Bro, to see the Powerpuff Girls, no fingers, no real fist to ball up and punch the shit out of somebody, but somehow they was knocking teeth out. They sending dudes to the hospital, like worse than Batman, bro, on a regular basis. So like, yeah, that was cool. But dude, also
him is my favorite villain of Powerpuff Girls because he's so bipolar. It's like, ooh, Powerpuff Girls. I love wacky. It's in the vein of like Gingy or Towley, but then he goes devil and uber masculine. And it's like funny because I'm surprised no one's really gotten triggered in today's world of like, this is transphobic.
So that's what I mean by like we grew up with that shit. Like you have him on screen, and this is a literal demon performing these weird acts because of the clothing or maybe drag, whatever. I don't, I'm like, we watched this shit. We were presented with these ideas and it didn't like make or break us. In your case, I don't know, because I got a gay homie and he liked some of the same shit and Sailor Moon too. And I'm like, look, maybe that's why you ended up the way that you did, Black Angus. But yes, bro, him being on screen, I'm like, look, y'all can't give me shit for putting this little weird.
We don't have to get. I can tell you why. The tea ladies are of interest,
bro. I heard you say it and it just caught me off. It caught me off guard because I processed it. I don't think it's because you like it. I think it was because you just admitted to it. And I don't remember you saying that on Ryan Roger. Maybe I wasn't listening at the time.
Oh yeah, I said it like I was pretty blatant. It's like, oh yeah, it's my jam, man. But no, it's because when I was a kid, I was not aware of I was aware of two genders. Clearly, I have a mom and dad. I understand silhouettes or the shape of man versus women generally. The build, you can tell. Boobs, but as a kid I thought everyone had the same hardware in their pants, and so when I started having like fantasies, that was the imagery. And so then I get older and you find adult content, and it's like, oh, this is like a thing, cool. So it's like kind of a misunderstanding as a child that like permeated into adulthood of like, oh, this is like a fetish or whatever you want to call it, a class, a genre.
Yeah, burst out laughing. I'm kind of glad I was muted.
No, you're fine, man. So for me, I really hate the agenda of today because it's all about effeminization, and it's like one of the greatest like war units, the Thebes. Like we know of Sparta, of course. They had like the Agogian. They had this whole like gay system, and they had to kind of enforce heterosexuality and child rearing through the state. But the Thebans also had like a select unit of like these like the best warriors, and they were all gay. Like their best like sacred band was gay couples. And
I need to hook you up with the homie Josh.
And so like I really hate this effeminization because it's like people are only celebrating gay because it's emasculating men. We've pushed this emasculated identity onto gay when it should be hyper masculine. It like we should be pairing gay with Navy SEALs and Superman, like aggressive masculinity. And I think that's the real aversion on the conservative side. We're talking politics with this demographic. If it was a masculine thing, no one would really be like, oh, that's weird, I'm not into that. But like, hey, you're a cool bro that just likes bros, that's all right, just don't tell me about it. Like, and so I drop this stuff in chat and stuff on my show a lot because I want to be a person that anyone that's like curious as a man, but they're afraid of like the stereotypes and the like the negative labels. And it's like, I want to be someone that gives guys a voice of confidence. Like, I love football, I love masculine shit. I was in the Army, and I dabble in this interest, and I'm not a sissy, I think that's the real problem. It's like, I'm not trying to convert people or none of that, but it's like I'm trying to, whoever's curious and afraid because of societal stuff, it's like, no, real men go their own way. They forge their own path. And that includes this aspect of life. Don't let society influence your happiness.
I'm going to say this, since you brought the conversation here. As a godly man, I wouldn't want that to be... I agree with the message of telling men you can be manly, like be the ideal of what a man is. Like you can still do that and remain gay. The gay part is what I disagree with.
I grew up Christian for like 20 years. I was pretty invested. So I totally understand the theology behind of like, yeah, if you're Christian, then you can be gay and Christian, but you have to be celibate. This is your cross to bear. Or you can try to, convert yourself and, live a straight life, force it upon yourself. But, if you can't go that route, then, because I was Catholic, and this is kind of the theology is like, yeah, it's okay to be gay. You have to be celibate. There's nothing wrong with admitting your attraction, but you can't indulge. That's like the line you can't cross.
I'm glad you said that, but that is what my conversation with my gay homie would be, as they're kind of like opening my mind to not necessarily acceptance, like I accept you as a person, but not the lifestyle.
Yeah,
so I will tell them like, hey bro, I don't approve of that, But because when they presented these things to me, they would tell me some wild shit. But I said that is how I interpret it, as I think God gives everyone an issue that they have to deal with, like their cross to bear. I think you did say that. And like you said, though, don't indulge. But no sin is greater than another in God's eyes. So just like one person has to deal with like sex or lying or murdering, all this type of shit. I think that is what gay people have to deal with. And the thing is to not indulge and to not live that lifestyle. But we all sin and come short of the glory. So I understand you might get
my message as an atheist is in conjunction with y'all is more or less, you got to pray the gay away, even if that means I am gay, but I can't do anything, so I'm celibate, unfortunately, and this is an irritation, but I'm serving God and his what I think is the right path. And so I really hate the modern Christianity that's bending the knee to the agenda and trying to accept them in oh, it's actually okay to do whatever. And it's what is the point of your religion? Your religion says this. And if you're of demographic, you're gay and you don't want to adhere to this religion, then just find a new religion or be an atheist. That's not why I'm an atheist. I didn't leave because of this aspect. It was just a lot of questioning, but that aspect, I really hate the that demographic trying to marry the two ideas together, because it's intrinsically opposed. all the rhetoric that God talks about is within a hetero monogamous marriage of indulging with your partner. Anything else is sinful. But I really hate how Christians are so focused on the gays are ruining marriage in the country or whatever, and home life. And it's I think heteros have done that. I think y'all make way more of a demographic and y'all are ruining marriage.
I get that, because as you said, I'm thinking, well, that would mean, I guess, laws. So you're saying the laws that allowed gay people, not you, but I'm saying somebody saying, the gays killed the country or send us downhill or whatever. Then it would be the lawmakers who allowed it to happen, who made it a thing. And I would say, well, that will come from the people who, I think that was more so rooted in that government that loves money. So I think just the loving of worldly things and this country losing its foundational values is how we get to the point of where we at today. That's kind of like AI art for me, whereas I don't approve of AI art, but I definitely understand when people say there is way more shit to be worried about than AI art. But I think that is one of the many things that are sending our civilization into a decline.
I think AI art's great, because if people really invest in it, at some point they're going to have to actually do art, because whatever you're plugging in to a search to spit out an image, you're not quite satisfied. And so you're going to, at worst, if you're trying to get the right image, you're gonna be all right, here is a template that I spit out with AI. Can you make this come to life properly? Or they'll just figure it out themselves how to use tools like Photoshop, I think it only aids artistry. Anyone that's actually scared of AI needs to reinvest in their skills or drop out.
I'm scared of AI because I think it will cause. Okay, I like when EBS said that the AI will allow people with ideas to generate a visual, give that to your artist, and they can go from there. I never thought about it like that, but I do understand that. Or if somebody's writing a story and they don't have money to pay an artist and they do that, I understand that. I think where it's going to hurt is the artistic skill or the drive for younger people and us as a civilization to gain the actual art knowledge and the skills to create art, I think we'll lose that, and there will be more of a reliance on the technology. And I think that's just how humans are. I think that's how all creatures are, biological. The path of least resistance. How can I survive the day to live and do it all again the next day? So I think by making it easier to create art, we're going to lose a lot of our humanity, and therefore it's going to contribute again to our downfall. So that's why I fear AI art. And then when I'm seeing like all of these videos of all of these weird homunculuses that this shit's creating with all these fingers and the teeth and all of that, I'm like, bro, this looks demonic. This is like something trying to imitate God, and it's weird. I can't do it.
I think the funniest thing about AI art, it's just brought this realization to me that every tool of art, when we've like hit a threshold, because it becomes sexualized. And I'm not saying that in a demonized view, but I think history proves like women are like the greatest form of art, because we understand like they just are like the best thing for a human eye, a beautiful woman, all the different shades and varieties of beautiful women. And so every like tool, once we figure out like its full function, we start making naughty art. And so I think that shows the viability of a piece of art, is when people like take it that way. Same with like films, like Blu-ray versus HD. Apparently like Charlie Thunder has like a meme talking about where it's like, well, like the battle between these two companies really came down to the adult industry, which one did they pick, and that really set the tone of which one was the viable platform. That's why Blu-ray won.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. You ready to transition to the next topic?
Yeah, sure.
Or you want to talk about more gay shit?
It's whatever.
All right, since we in this state of degeneracy already, let's move on to another form of it. Something that a lot of y'all will put on me and Black Angus. Black Angus, I've said I was. Hold on. Let me pull up the article first. Because I like to have the articles to like lead into a conversation or spark the conversation. We just been kind of going at it, just talking. It's been cool, but I like to have my articles to I don't know, because I want to have a competent chat at the same time. I want them to know some things. So we got our our little stuff over here. I was trying to talk to pull it up, and I still ain't got it up.
No, I know how that goes, man.
All right, here we go. I got it. Opening it in a new tab right now. I'm also slow as shit when it comes to doing this stuff, so I got to narrate to let people know I'm not pulling a Joe Biden and falling asleep or something. I'm not political. That's the only sleepy person I could think of.
Snorlax. There you go. There's a good sleepy character.
There you go. You ready for this, bro? For this article?
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what this is.
Chat, this for y'all. What is this? Let me put this down. All right. Students dressed as furries could be collected by animal control if new Oklahoma bill passes.
Why is it always Oklahoma? It's my state.
Yo, people. All right, Black Angus. They coming for you. You ain't in grade school no more, though, so they'll catch you on the streets. I've said, because people claim I'm a furry for being a werewolf. I'm like, they're not the same thing. So I've just accepted furry adjacent. You said you're furry adjacent. Where did that come from? What do you mean by this? Explain.
Well, like my first conscious crush that I'm aware of was Lola Bunny.
Okay.
And then, you get the bunny chick from Zootopia and all the art people made of that, where it's like superseded Lola.
Oh my goodness.
And it's just like, how can you say this is not hot? And so it's like, how can you just like write off furrydom?
Hold on.
Stuff, that's weird to me, but
an artist? Are you in like Comics Gate? Are you actually creating something?
Yeah, I'm trying to create a Meth Gator.
Okay, yes. Okay. All right, you can continue. My bad for interrupting, but I just need to ask that because it's like my chat give me shit for that, and I'm like, hold on, we all grew up with Looney Tunes, Animaniacs, fucking Ninja Turtle, Street Sharks, like all of these anthropomorphic characters that we've loved. But all of a sudden, I guess because I have more of a fixation on it, now I'm weird.
Yeah, people cry about, oh, they made Lola, they wokeified Lola in Space Jam 2. She's not hot anymore. It's like, that sounds like a furry argument, buddy. But then they're also like, destroy all furries, and it's like, I think you're mixed up.
The turtles were not sexy, IJP, but they're becoming sexy.
I don't know. If I was a chick, I would think the Michael Bay turtles are kind of hot. You know, they're like, they're very masculine.
They're masculine, but their faces are ugly as shit.
Ew, women don't care about faces.
Yes, you do.
Not that much.
Yes, you do. So. What up, LG? LG, I've told you. People in the chat, y'all probably don't know what's going on. But more conversations need to be had. LG, you need to. I told y'all all that tweeting and shit y'all be doing back and forth. Let's stop. Get on the stream. Go at it. Get them thoughts out there. But yeah, the Michael Bay turtles were nightmare fuel, bro. They were disgusting looking. I'm talking about the big flared nostrils, damn near steer-like or ungulate-like, by hoofed animals. I did like the personality that all of the characters had. And like Raph had the more like a do-rag with the shades on, maybe tattoos. I don't know if I remember seeing tattoos on him, but more of the biker look. So I like Michael Bay doing that. Anyway, nah, bro, them turtles look fucking disgusting. But y'all get what I'm saying. That's also been my argument, Black Angus, where, and it was funny because I was streaming and then we was going through some of my art, and then this guy named T Fiddler, so some of his art showed up, and it was like I guess it was a naked bull, but it wasn't like an actual dick. But you know how they like kind of do the superhero like tights cuff down there? Yeah. It was that. But I'm like, this artist, and nobody gave me shit about it. They pointed it out, but it was funny. But I'm like, I appreciate the art when somebody is able to put more human anatomy on an animal. And again, we grew up with that, but I'm like, that takes a level of skill that everybody is not capable of. So when I do see it, look, bro, if you type in Lucario, Renamon, Zootopia, anything, the shit just starts to pop up if you scroll long enough. So I never went searching for this shit. But as you see some of it, again, there is like okay, this is well done. This artist is great.
Yeah, a weird thing about furry art and the attraction, whatever. It's funny that like we got all these like dog characters people draw, bulls, even like bird characters, but then like there's really not any apes. Like people don't really sexualize apes, which is crazy when you think about how related we are. And it's like, I wonder what the mental block is that like no one ever really does it. I know there definitely has to be some that people have done, but collectively, like Lola is a prime example. It's one of the like best known furry characters that's crossed mainstream because she's got a sex appeal with bugs. But there's really no apes, and it's like, I wonder it's very curious to me. I've talked about this before. I'm just like, that's just a strange mental block I think general humanity has. Maybe it's because we're so related that we're just like, it's like our cousins.
I've never thought about that. I'm trying to think though. Have I seen an ape character?
Besides Planet of the Apes, where Charlton Heston kisses the ape, there's really no like furry iconography for that specific, monkeys or apes.
All right, I'm looking for the artwork I just did for Mrs. Sasquatch. Here we go. I'm gonna show you this because it wasn't my goal to try to convert anybody to being furry adjacent, but I was like, my goal is to make this Sasquatch attractive. As the artist, that is my goal, to make this good-looking character, a pleasing character to the eye. And I feel like I accomplished it, and everybody was just like, it seemed like the reactions to it, people was just like confused. Like they didn't want to say it was hot, but they knew that it was. And I was like, yeah, my job here is done. Like hairy titties, big ass feet with toe thumbs and shit, and you like it. So yeah, man, I think that is a skill that not a lot of people possess. But when you put these animal creatures, these characters on screen, you can I think kids are more drawn to it because they are different. Ooh, I like animals. I love animals, and these are walking and talking. And again, I say a lot of these people are like all these grown men, 30, 40, 50 and up, like bitching on the internet about, ooh, my fandom, my IP, my franchise. I'm like, we are only here for so long. Who's fighting for the kids and their entertainment? Like, who's going to put out some kids programming so that they grow up knowing and loving characters, having these emotions with these characters like we did? Or are we just being selfish and bitching for ourselves and our entertainment now? So yeah, man, I think we need more of this. This isn't too bad. Lawrence, that means she's hot and you don't want to say it, bro.
Dude, it's funny you say it because like with my interest I spoke of earlier, I love with like friends and like private chat tricking them, be like, oh, look at this hot broad. And then I show the R-rated and it's like, you're gay now. You're like, damn it. Oh, why didn't I think it was hot?
Yeah, man, we need somebody out there actually trying to make some kids content. And that's why I kind of want, the theme of my stream, my show, this channel to be more like animated, like more cartoony. But it's a bunch of grown ass men out there, but I'm trying to make it cartoony, but for us, like on a more mature approach.
Yeah, I think you can do Zootopia. Like so many artists, like the Lilo and Stitch guy. He's got a bunch of adult creations, but he crossed over into apparently Dr. Seuss was into this stuff too. I don't know what it looked like, but I've read this, and then he crossed over into doing like kids whatever. There's a lot of degeneracy, quote unquote degeneracy in artists making kids content.
Yeah, man, I saw the artist for Lilo and Stitch, and yeah, I actually follow. Yeah, he's one of my influences. Like I'm studying this dude. That kind of. Let me see. I was having a conversation with Copa and Jay on Zach's channel. We were talking about anime and how Blue-Eyed Samurai. I was saying that I don't like it so far. I'm on episode 3, but the dude Zach's pulled up like a documentary behind the scenes stuff about it, and the creator, I don't know if he's creator or what, but the guy working on it came from kids programming, and this was his first adult project that he had worked on. And I was like, you can kind of tell this to be, it seems like it is a first attempt. Like somebody said this was their first attempt at doing something more adult, like with sex and cursing and blood and shit. I was like, okay, I can see this person is like trying to dip their toe over there, as opposed to you seeing a project that looks like somebody who's been doing this, somebody who's comfortable and know what they're doing going into it. I don't exactly know why I said that. Oh, I guess because and it seems like our approach has been in the innocent portrayal of characters and going into more adult themes later on with the characters or with the ideas. So that's why I said it. Let me get back to my article, bro.
Yeah. Well, Blue-Eyed Samurai, I've been seeing like Vex talk about it, and I'm like, maybe I'll check it out. But then I look at the animation, it's like, I don't like this style. I just want straight like cartoon animation.
Yeah, I don't like it. I give it a C range.
needs more work. Like there's some of the, I don't know if you watched some of the animated, like I guess you call it 3D style animation in Love, Death and Robots on Netflix. They got some good vignettes, but this style just, it's like it doesn't feel finished to me, or there's something about it just like I don't like looking at this.
And Zach, I didn't give him shit for this, but we were talking about Blue Eye Samurai, and I think that was the focus, but because I hadn't watched it, then he was like, okay, we can talk about some other stuff too. Because I want to talk about Castlevania. I think that was amazing. I understand there are some issues with it. People's like, this is woke too, but all woke ain't equal, and that shit was great. That and Love, Death and Robots. I actually want to do an anthology because of that series, like just seeing how it was so many just amazing ideas, but you didn't have to, get caught up on like, oh, I need to make this perfect and think this idea all the way through. It's like I can just present to you a little.
What was your favorite one in that series?
The werewolf one, of course.
Okay, that is a good one, and it looks great too. That would be great to make a full film out of that style. Yeah, my favorite was the blue paint one with the pool robot through time. I thought that was amazing. Such an interesting concept philosophically of like purpose driving you, and it's like, yeah, what if some people's purpose is just to be, a pool cleaner, and this is like their fulfillment. We always make stories about like grand feats, Superman, Batman, Iron Man, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. You got to throw the ring into a great volcano against the evil forces, and it's like this one's like this guy's purpose, this robot's purpose. He evolves, and then his culmination is like accepting his original purpose of being a pool cleaner robot. And it's like that is profound.
There was a lot of them that I liked, man, because you had the one, what was it, Mayan? Was it Mayan with the gold siren-like woman? And then I think they were conquistadors that came through, and when they heard her song, they started going crazy and like killing each other.
I saw that one. It might be season 2.
Yeah, that was season 2.
I didn't finish season 2. I like it, but it's just so many things me and Rookie are watching. But I introduced him to that show, and he really liked the pale blue or whatever that was.
I like the I think it was the first one actually, where you had the raptor like monster, like the arena.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was great. And I think this was season 2. I don't know, but do you remember the guy who started swimming in the sky with the underwater like constellations?
Oh yeah, and then it's like, no, stop, son. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and then they became real, and he got his ass ate by that shark.
Yeah, they got some just crazy. That's like a pure artist show where it's like I got an idea, I can do it in 15 minutes or less. Boom. And they funded it. It's great. I want more stuff like that.
That particular one, I don't think I was high while I was watching it. It was wild though, because it made me it brought me back to those memories of when I was a kid. I think it's some shit like called Starry Nights or something. You like drive through and there's a bunch of like light fixtures or shows or decorations around like Christmas time, the holiday time, and they get real intricate, and they actually look like stars from a kid. I'm thinking, like, I don't even know if they moved, but in my mind as a child, this shit was moving, and like I'm seeing a deer prancing around, but it's a constellation, but like right here on our plane of existence. So when I saw that one, it took me back to that, where it did seem real to me, seeing these animal light shows around me. But yeah, that was just a cool ass memory. All right, I'm actually reading my article now. There was a lot of shit in the chat. Let me hurry up and address this. Yes, Castlevania, the second season, it was trash. 3D is less expensive than 2D. 2D is beautiful though, so I don't know, man. I hate it. I don't know the Castlevania story, so I was looking at it as a normie. Blood of Zeus, I couldn't finish it. I lost.
Yeah, Blood of Zeus. I can't wait for season 2.
Yeah, man, it's just I don't know, something about it just couldn't keep me in. It also looks like that and Castlevania kind of looks like it too, with like all of these similar art styles.
Yeah, it might be from the same animation house. They do look a lot alike.
It's like I don't know, Castlevania was amazing though, but yeah, I'm starting to see like with Blood of Zeus start to look like a Young Justice art style, where it's like this is very simple, it gets the job done, but there's nothing about it that seems like really original or creative as far as art design or direction. All right, furry talk. Since Black Angus didn't respond to that,
I was just listening. Sorry.
No, I got you. I feel you. I didn't know about this furry shit till I went to college, and I went to art college. So I was in there with the opposition, and I didn't even know it. But they introduced me to all this shit, and no, I'm not with it. But I would like, you got to give them props. These characters, if you put them in some type of kids show, they look cool. The designs of a lot of furry characters are visually appealing. It's just when you realize what a lot of these people do with these suits on that it gets kind of weird. And it's funny that this article does talk about it. All right, if one Oklahoma representative gets, I'm going to read all of this because all of it is good. If one Oklahoma representative gets his way, children who act like dogs and cats during school hours could be punished by animal control. Yes, parents might soon have to collect their erstwhile kids from the pound if Representative or Rep. Justin Humphreys' bill makes it to the finish line as it stands today. That is, of course, if kids acting like animals at school is really that widespread a problem, which is up for debate. And please stop me whenever you want. When you want to speak on your people, because they oppressing us right now. These laws against people like me and you. Do we want our kids to grow up in a world where they can't use the litter box in the classroom with privacy?
I think that specific story got debunked, but I mean, we're so close to it. This is why everyone fell for it.
It did get debunked, and they talk about this in the article, but it was the one thing that came to my head. So that's why I said it. All right, Humphrey's bill, which was filed Wednesday, seeks to put in place a law whereby students who purport to be an imaginary animal or animal species or who engage in anthropomorphic behavior, commonly known as furries at school, should not be allowed to participate in school. One of my students asked me that shit. That was because I said I was a werewolf. He's like, "Are you a furry?" And I was like, "Why do you know about this?"
No, and you're like sweating.
I'm not answering the question. You get no answers out of me. The parent or guardian of a student in violation of this section shall pick up the student from school, or animal control services shall be contacted to remove the student. This is the world that your community created, Black Angus. Alphabets.
Yeah.
You don't have to...
Dempsey's. I was looking at Dempsey's chat, and it's like, yeah, he's kind of saying what I was thinking, trying to piece out. It was like, this sounds ridiculous, and like maybe people are like, yeah, whatever, we'll sign into law, and it's like this could be a stepping stone for real furry genocide by the state.
Yep. I think that's the approach to Black people too. When a lot of them was validating their behavior around the whole George Floyd thing, I was like, I think they're purposely allowing this shit to happen so that Black people can go into such an extreme state that is justified in whatever law enforcement does to them.
I'm so glad you said that. That's my thoughts. People are like, what's the point of this? Where it's like, I think it's like fear tactics. It's like domestic terrorism they're harvesting. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, they're saying, defund the cops, whatever, to appease you with rhetoric. But then this will only enforce voter base to enact more state control. So like people's like on the left, especially like California stuff, they're like good intention for their political views to like decriminalize more and to reduce policing in Black communities, etc. It's like, so they're going to go along with this, but then they're going to get battered by the extreme rioters and stuff. And so from their experience, they're actually going to enact unknowingly more state control, more severe punishment, and create a more, in their view, fascist state. And I just think it's funny how, yeah, like Chaz is a great example. There's people, they're like, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. I'm a apologetic white person. I'm sorry for my ancestors, all this rhetoric. And then it's like, wait, I'm on your side. Why are you destroying my house? It's like, yeah, exactly. Don't go along with this, you dumbass.
Dempsey, this is hilarious. we do have to have a line though. Act how you want, but within rational limits. It is just like everything else. These kids are trying to shit in the box in the classroom. It's just wild to think about. I knew how to keep my furryism behind closed doors, like to myself at home. I don't know. It was the fear of being bullied or saying something wrong to you that you didn't act like a fucking animal. The only thing I would do is like run on all fours though. But I think this is building up my arm muscles too. So I'm like, I'm trying to be Tarzan, man. I'm not trying to be a furry. I'm trying to be a beast man. Kicking ass around here, swinging from.
That's what I forget all the time. Tarzan. That was the only thing I was worried about Tarzan was the like androgynous ape. That's like his childhood friend. What
do you mean?
As a kid, it always bothered me. The voice is androgynous. I couldn't tell if it's boy or girl. It just stuck out so much. It always bothered me. I'm like, is that a boy or girl? Because I think the name was also ambiguous. So I'm like, what is this?
Do you know who voiced Turk?
Is it Rosie O'Donnell?
Yeah. I thought Turk was a dude too.
So it is a girl character.
Yeah, I don't know at what point I found out it was a girl, but I remember the mom saying Turkina, so that was the whole name.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I always thought like this was supposed to be a boy character, but then it had a kind of girly voice.
Yeah,
and so it's confusing and thus irritating to me. It's like the one irritant in that movie, aside from like the villain, where I'm like, just why do you hate Tarzan and the apes? You know, the whole narrative that they win you with.
Bro, I love Tarzan. It's one of my top. Yeah, it's definitely top 3.
I hated when they killed the leopard. I was so sad because I love the monsters and stuff. So even though I'm like rooting for Tarzan, when he's fighting the cat, I'm like, I'm rooting for the cat. And then like he starts crawling up, and I'm like, yeah, the cat killed Tarzan. Like, oh no, Tarzan won. No.
So when you say root for the monsters, I root for the animals that are just acting instinctually, and they have nothing against the people. They're just the prey at the time, and that's what we're watching.
Well, it conflates between monster or bad guy. Like I love the bad guys, and so usually the monsters are the bad guys in films.
Okay, you like the bad guys. I don't know. It was just something about Scar, man, that makes him my favorite villain. Like I know what it is about him, but I'm just not one of those people. Like, yeah, I love the bad guys. It's like I like a cool bad guy. It helps make a amazing story, but it was just something about Scar, man, that was different. That movie just to me was different though from the other stuff.
You know why? There's this philosophy branch called like holism, and it's I'm still trying to like dig into it and unpack it, but Scar is interesting because he's actually trying to enact a democracy, more or less. It's self-serving, but he's trying to enact some more equality among at least the predators of hyenas and the lions. And the whole movie is reinforcing a like know your role kind of story of like there is a monarchy, there is a king, and you are a subject, and that's what Scar's upending. And so he's got it's very confused as a product for an American audience, given that we like just revere democracy blindly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, that's actually the hero. He's George Washington, undermining the King George III.
Scar.
Yeah.
You're right. I've never thought of it like that, but that's definitely not why I like Scar.
There's I'll send you a link in Twitter later. It's this channel. Like my goal, if I could have full reign and time and money to invest in a channel, make content, I would love to be like this channel, Wisecrack. They're amazing. They do like pop culture philosophy videos. They're amazing.
I think with Scar, I think it was more so the was it familiar familial connection by him being the main character's uncle, and how he's plotting, against his brother. I think it was that seeing
Cain and Abel.
Yeah, the story of these brothers and how this family member is able to bring himself to do something like this. And then I was a kid. It was the colors, it was the songs too, and the pleasing characters. But yes, just something about Scars. I think him being darker too, which I kind of I'm jokingly serious when I say Mufasa and his family besides Scar were like the light-skinned black people that made it out the hood, like Uncle Phil. And Scar was like Will, the hood one that's just attached to our success. But he's really like this sleazy ghetto. Like he might be going through our drawers while we're not at home stealing. Shit like that is what I said Scar was. Yes,
That's
I've heard of Hamlet at JP.
It's interesting because it's like that's like a mental block for me. Like me being black has real no bearing on my identity. It's like it's my name Black Angus is because I just needed to make a YouTube name. And as a kid, when I was playing guitar by myself, I was always trying to play AC/DC stuff. And so my goal was to be like Black Angus Young. So that's where the name came from. It was just like kind of like the classic comic where it's like, all right, we got a black character. It's like, all right, so Black something, Black Panther, Black Lightning, Black Bolt, even though that guy's white, but Black Bolt, that was really the like idea of the name is like, and then it became like kind of a joke too, because I'm from Oklahoma. We got a lot of cows, ranch area around me where I grew up. So there's also like the cow joke of Black Angus cattle. And so that's where like the furry art has come in for my channel and cow jokes.
Yeah, bro. I think how much I defend furryism. I'm not gonna say furries, furryism, the practice. I'm just letting my chat know, man. Y'all gonna get it when y'all see all this weird art of my characters. Hey, I embrace it. I don't necessarily want to see it, especially no gay shit that y'all throwing out there that I didn't approve of, that I didn't put in the book. But this is like when I see Sora and Riku from Kingdom Hearts and they look gay art. I'm like, come on, man. This don't feel right to look at. But yeah, man, they're gonna have a whole lot of animal people fucking in my shit. And hey, it is what it is. If it gets popular enough, I said I might pop out some little sexy commissions. If it came down to it, who knows? All right. Where did I stop in this?
I think you're on the Arkell Humphrey.
Right there. Humphrey tells Rolling Stone he was inspired to write the bill after hearing several reports of students disrupting school while engaging in animal-like behavior. He cites 2 such alleged incidents in which a grandchild of a friend took to crawling down the hallway while wearing a leash, and another where a student distracted classmates by meowing like a cat. He seemed most concerned, however, with the idea of students requesting litter boxes in the classroom, a favorite talking point among right-wing politicians that has been debunked. Similar bills have been introduced in the past as well, but none have included the animal control language. So this dude is like trolling. He being funny. And I like this approach. Let's just have fun with it then. Humphrey says he's heard reports of such instances, but did not cite a specific incident. Why are we going to bring in a litter box and put it in a room? Are they allowing those kids to actually use litter boxes? He asked, incredulous. If you think that you're an animal, that's a mental health issue. And we need to get you mental health assistance. Some people are going to say, well, they're being artistic. There's nothing artistic about mental illness. I guess if you got an autistic person creating some beautiful works of art, that's probably not art. I remember some guy that could, I think he could look at a city, like the map, some lines, some shit. And he could like perfectly, like, he had a photographic memory, and he could draw the whole city or some shit. So I'm like, when you got autism like that, there's some artistic. That's artistic.
Yeah. It's just funny reading this where he's talking about like a kid playing as a dog. It's like, is he not aware like Paw Patrol is like the biggest thing for kids right now?
What are you saying? I know you ain't saying Paw Patrol contribute to that shit.
No, I'm just saying like kids like to act out the content they indulge in. And so like they're watching Paw Patrol, all these dogs, you know, like I want to be a puppy because they're my heroes, you know. It's just like seems to be like a purposeful mental disconnect of like, yeah, children are silly and they want to pretend to be animals, you know. It's like I'm alive. Like I love being fucking Simba as a kid, you know. I didn't have to go to a counselor because of that.
Yeah, but you wasn't doing the shit in school, disrupting the class. I'm pretty sure the kid who was walking down, crawling on all fours down the hall was not watching Paw Patrol and was like, I saw Chase do this on last night's episode. I pay attention to Paw Patrol. I like it. I like pleasing characters, man. I like kids to have cool characters.
Yeah, it's I really think the issue is the current culture of no discipline, you know, because like I would never think there's just like the social bullying of that. Like, oh, I don't want to be the weird kid, and so I'm going to act right, you know, and follow suit. And also the teacher's an authority, and so I don't want to get her chagrin, you know, and further shame. So that's really the problem is we've like thrown shame out the window. We've thrown out shaming people for acting up, and we've thrown out discipline widespread. You know, this idea of like spanking's bad. It's like, no, there's a difference between spanking your kid and beating them. And we've conflated the two. And it's like, no, kids, you know, you put them in a corner, but at some point their imagination takes over, and it's like, oh, I'm in the corner. And they just start imagining crap and, you know, being so it's not really punishment after a few minutes. Spanking their ass, that gives them an understanding. Spanking their hands with a ruler or something. Yeah.
You remember the episode of SpongeBob where SpongeBob and Patrick were in their box?
Yeah, exactly. You know, again, you got to think like a kid. This punishment, go to your room at some point. They're like, oh, I'm in a room. I got toys in here, or I'm going to like jump on the bed, or, you know, it's like kids have a finite understanding. So like pain is the best like disciplinary action for, I would say 10 and under, generally speaking. You get, you know, it's all adjusted, you know, case by case, but generally speaking, 10's kind of like, all right, unless it's like really like crazy, they hurt someone, then you kind of got to like be more creative with punishment, because now they start coveting things. Taking stuff away actually matters at that point.
Yeah. No, I agree with spanking your kids and whooping them. It happened to me. I turned out fine. I didn't get abused. But also the natural world does it. Animals, they will, you know, bite, fight a little bit, discipline their kids. So hey, it is what it is. You had said something that I forgot what it was. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying earlier though, when you were saying like the shame and whatnot. Like that's why when I went home, I acted like an animal. At school, I acted like a fucking student because I didn't want nobody. We called it checking. I didn't want nobody to check my ass, which was say a bunch of creative, funny insults at my despair. In a group of children, I see there was a lot of that. But no, I didn't want to be disrupting class either, because, you know, I grew up in a time where the teacher could spank you, whoop you. And then if they really cared, they called your parents. And then my parents, really my mama, she would come up there and whoop me in front of the class. So nah, man, I wasn't trying to do shit crazy. This is, especially elementary school. Bored Ape Comics. No, I have never heard of that.
I'm gonna look that up.
Bored Ape. All right, mental illness. When asked why he decided to use the term furry in his bill, Humphrey brought up mental health once more, saying there's an actual psychological term that goes with that, but it's very, very difficult to pronounce. So I just use furries because that's what everybody's calling them. He also implies that dressing up as an animal is a fetish of sorts. We're there to educate. We're not there to teach sexual habits. You got thoughts on that, bro?
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole can of worms, but I do think the state, I believe the state should be acting as a parent in the sense of, you know, your rulers should be in a fatherly role and thus ruling for the good of people. But if clearly we've got decades of proof of like that is not what they're doing. And so that's where the whole like state being involved with educating on sex and stuff becomes an issue, especially with like the current agendas and investors behind those agendas to subvert humanity, however you see. That's where the problem comes in. But it's like, no, I think the state has a role to, like, you know, incrementally teach like blanket terms, definitions, understandings of especially like little kids, like, all right, you know, this is happening, you should probably tell one of us and we'll help you. Or you're at this stage, so this is when kids start playing with themselves, looking at each other, hey, show me yours, I'll show you mine. And it's like this idea of, like, you know, not everyone's going to church. You have to think like you're in a public school, so you have to rule on secular. And if you want to, like, take your kid out of that, then that is a conversation of allowance, whatever, you know. But I think the state definitely has a role in sexual education for children through the ages, because it can affect the school. If you know, there's all sorts of, you know, crazy instances, people getting assaulted, broomsticks in the bathroom, whatever, you know. It's like, this is a role of the state. If you're, you know, you've handed temporary guardianship to the state in a school, I think, you know, they have every right to have some say in their sphere of influence. So it gets complicated for sure, but it's also complicated by what I said earlier. It's like the state is not acting like a caring father, you know.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. If you're going to send your kids there, like you said, it is, I think, can of worms, though, because you should be able to trust the people to guide, or you're essentially giving them, passing on your title, your role to them by giving your kids away to other people and saying, raise them while I'm doing something else. So I don't agree with that. But I mean, if you are going to do it, you should be able to trust the people that are in charge of your kids and trust that they are creating an environment where your kid is safe from other kids' advances, aggressive, sexual, or, you know, whatever the nature of the advance is. It's supposed to be, it should be a safe environment. But yeah, if you're not, I guess, doing anything about certain behaviors, then they're just going to become more frequent, or, you know, having more often. Kids knowing there's no real consequences to this. But yeah, I've said humans are the only species that gives their offspring to somebody else to raise. So I got issues with that in general.
It's interesting. I never really thought about the animal part of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a select few animals that will do some shit like lay their egg in somebody else's nest for them to raise or something.
Ooh, but there's a movie you need to watch since you said that. It's all that concept. It's what the whole movie's about. It's called Vivarium. I've
seen it.
Oh, yes. As soon as that movie started with that, like, sequence of the cuckoo, and I'm like, this better play into the story. And like, clearly it did.
That's the same fucking thing I said when I saw it. I was like, okay, this is a cool concept. How are you going to integrate that into this movie?
Another one sort of in this field and also bird based is I think it's called Hatchling. It's from, like, I want to say like Sweden or something. And so it's more of a doppelganger movie, but it's interesting too because there's like a cuckoo aspect to it.
I haven't seen that. No, man.
You might be able to get it at your library.
This man said, go to the library for a movie. The internet is the library. What do you mean?
Sure, but like if you just want it in hand, I go to the library all the time. So that's like my go-to for free content.
Okay. All right. Although some furries are indeed into the lifestyle as a sort of sexual kink, that's not the case for most. Don't you got a show or something I saw at 2:00?
No, I'm going on at 3.
Okay. I'm trying to be mindful of the time. Generation Z in particular has been known to embrace the subculture in a largely non-sexual way, likely due to the fact that a large number of furries identify as LGBTQ, whatever the fuck. As one, because I threw an extra letter in there. That's why I said whatever. As one furry told Rolling Stone previously, the fandom is so open that they feel safe exploring their identity more than if they were living in a traditional household. For them, then, the lifestyle is more about acceptance than sex. I disagree with that. I understand the freedom but I know who I was, and if I was trying to get away from my parents, I was trying to go mess with some little girl, sexual in nature. A lot of people do it. They go off to college and they just turn into degenerates because they have their freedom now and they're not on that leash from their parents. So they start engaging in a bunch of other stuff. So I can understand the furry movement being that. Man, it's just weird though. Like I promise y'all, I've never seen like furry sex or like no porn or nothing. That's weird. Again, that's a weird level. But yeah, man, as far as the mental illness aspect of it, it's like, what do you have to be going through to this is you and you're, I'm not going to say only, but you have a need to perform these acts with this like suit on. You should be trying to touch a person, not some felt faux fur suit.
Yeah, I do think the actual like fursuit people, especially if they're like wearing it outside all the time. Like I've seen videos of Japan where it's like, I'm a furry and I just go around my day on the subway and stuff. I'm a furry all the time. And this is me. And it's like, you need a counselor.
Yeah. I'm seeing if I want to read the rest of this. I'll just skip to this last one. As for the whole animal control thing, the representative admits this bit of a joke. If a dog showed up at school, you call animal control. You want to treat these people as actual animals, you call animal control. I'll be happy to rewrite the language to replace animal control with mental health professionals. But right now, I'll put that in there to make the point, a sarcastic point.
That's like you're wasting tax dollars. So like whatever point you're making, you could just do that as a representative on Twitter for your constituents.
I agree with trolling, but with a with an honest like message, or for fighting for actual change that you think is a change for the better, and having fun with it at the same time. You're talking about tax dollars and all that. Okay, sure, I can see that. But as far as just actually saying something about it, and not, like you said, with the church, not just allowing it to happen, especially in a environment where this is anti what we're supposed to be teaching here. But yeah, furry lives matter. Who stepped that? All right, bro. We had 2 hours. We've been going for a while. You want to get into the comic shit?
Sure.
Let's talk about it, bro. Where do you come in all of this? What you got to say about the independent comic scene right now, and the issues with that right now? I'm about to piss while you're talking.
Let's see. I think generally it's great. I think Comicsgate or adjacent or just independent in general is a great sphere. Like I talked about the Has Been Hotel, that's an independent creator that's now got an Amazon show. So this allows people to subvert and undermine the establishment, just kind of like the NFL has the same thing, where it's like you kind of have to accept playing for free for a few years in college to get seen to go to the NFL. So it's very much a funnel. You could say it's a way to like burn the chaff from the wheat, but I think it's also exclusionary. And so I'm all about independence, being able to not have to play ball with narratives, toe the line in whatever case for like corporate mandates, be who they want to be as political or not as they want. That's really the main issue, I think, that's helped spur on this era of independence and brought them to the forefront. And it's really giving people access, just like OnlyFans. A lot of people bemoan OnlyFans and its influence, but I think for that industry, it's great. You don't have in that sphere women having to, however pervasive it actually is or not, you don't have to have so much a concern of a victim narrative that you had to play ball with stuff you didn't want to. You're in control. I think the same aspects here for indie comics. Yeah, wait, I said hi. Are you talking about B.A. Turner? Dempsey?
Yes, that's what Dempsey's talking about.
Are you friends with him or?
Man, I'm cool with
Engaged
BA. I think a lot of the people like Hell the Lord Mods for my channel. A lot of people that you will see over here have had issues with BA. And there was a stream. I was on a stream and they had start saying stuff about BA, and he popped up in the chat and was like, "I see y'all." So yeah, that's again, bro. I don't get into it. Again, BA is somebody. It seems like the opposition doesn't mind talking to me, which again, I'm like, I'm fine with. I'll talk to anybody, but I'm not, like I said with the Renown Zero thing, like I'm not trying to pick a side. I'm not trying to fight for a specific cause or anything besides the betterment of entertainment media. And I do think us just yelling at each other on fucking line back and forth ain't solving shit. It's just helping to keep up a lot of drama.
I think it's a good thing. For whoever has the memes, I think is who will be the victor in the argument or the war. Legitimately, because it's like, to be able to meme, I think you have to be self-reflective. And like you see it with like Rippaverse, there's the joke Dick Maxson came up with of what's your favorite part. This was a neg of like so many people like, well, I haven't read it yet, but yeah, it's just blind defense. And so that's why it's a joke. And then months later, they come out like, what's your favorite part? Shirt. As like, oh, we're going to monetize this. We made merch of it. It's like, yeah, this is months after this was triggering y'all that this was a joke, because it hurts. You know, the joke of it was hurting the sensibilities. And that's why I mean, like, whoever has the memes is probably going to be the winner of the argument. And by winner, I mean be correct about the situation. You know, it's like Ukraine happens. Look at all these memes that have popped up mocking Ukraine, because we all know what it is. That it's it's not just this narrative that CNN's going to push about like one side is the evil. You know, in a way smaller microcosm, this is how I see like the Rippaverse. You know, I used to be in War Campaign and we would meme people, and then eventually those people would turn on Comicscape because collectively before I was in it and then after when I was in it and after I left, you know, it's like you see who we're memeing. It's like we're memeing you because we like see through something, whatever aspect is. Like Mike S. Miller, he was one that would get memed a lot. And now look at him. He's like a total EVS derangement syndrome. It's like, yeah, he's not really in it, you know? And that could be like, you could say that's like team sports stuff. Should we have this aspect in the fandoms? I think the fandoms have already started because it's like implicitly team sports. And, you know, so there is kind of a purity aspect to it. I think that's really the chagrin with Rippa's. He's, you know, I think Rippa has coasted with like the monetize your hater stuff. He's and by extension the fandom, when he's been you know, clashing heads with people, it's always been like clearly SJWs that, you know, don't like his political rhetoric. But then with the biggest problem in the universe kind of blowing this all up, you realize like someone like me is like, I've been a subscriber for years to Young Rippa, you know, and then like I'm taking the side of biggest problem, you know. EVS has been in the trenches of this since he left DC, and now, you know, he's on the same side. I kind of saw that from the beginning on that Flashcast where he's like, he said before they came on, he told Ripper like, I read it twice. Like that wasn't a vote of confidence the way he said that. It was like, I'm not confused, man. I read this twice, man. Like they got points for sure. And this like aversion to be like, yeah, we're not as great as we want to be, and just this I would say there's a lot of like lack of self-awareness and willing to like accept criticism and willing to be like, yeah, it's not as good as I want it to be, and just accepting it. Like we're going to get better. I think that and then all these little shenanigans that Rippa's let his foot get in his mouth repeatedly over these months, I think for his issue and his collective he's building, like Hill versus Bayface and all that, Nerdrotic, I think this is why we're here where we're at, and it's becoming a shit show of fun. And that's the thing, is like the value of this is like our collective side, Dick Masterson, Vito, EVS, me, Rookie Critic's kind of like Rookie Critic wants to be the nice guy for everybody, but like even he was totally like, no way you're right about this book. And then we read it together and he's like, oh my God, everything you said was spot on. Oh my God. It's like he's one you got to work to convince. And so him being kind of in league with me on this is like, yeah, I've had to prove it to him. So it's not like we hate Rippa. It's like a lot of us were fans, and I think Rippa got so complacent with fighting SJWs, and thus his fans did too, that the opposition now, they are internalizing it as more SJWs. And it's like, no, I'm in the chats with y'all. I'm in the fight and the arguments with y'all about like wokeism in Hollywood and stuff. So this is not coming from SJWs. It's coming from your own fans,
Mm-hmm.
That's what's funny about it. That's why I say, like, yeah, our side is the right side about this argument because we're the ones willing to come to the table. Renown's calling out Vito, and Vito's like, hey, I'll let you read the comic digitally, like whatever format, whether it's a story or like maybe storyboards or unfinished art. And he's like, no, I'm not reading that. And it's like, oh, so you're actually not willing to engage in good faith, as they love to say. Mm-hmm. And so that's all. This has been like well thought out. It wasn't a like, yeah, screw Rippa. It's like, I'm still subbed to him because I've been subbed for years, so I think that's kind of the disconnect of the Rippa defenders or straight up Rippatards that are just entrenched in his fandom. They can't see the complexity. They're viewing this as a simple left-right dichotomy, and it's not that.
See, man, it's a weird spot I put myself in. Where I know people say don't fence it. I'm not fence-sitting. I do defend Rippa, but I would say the shady things that you say that have happened, and on this stream with you, I don't think that I'm creating excuses for Eric July, but I think I'm, I understand y'all's perspective. My aim has to bring a Rippa defender's perspective. But I think also, since I am a creative person myself, and I do have aspirations of creating a comic, and I do have an artistic eye, I have had issues with the book and with the story before. But because I know you guys ask about like why none of those guys have done a review of the video. And I don't know. I think it was you who said they were like treating him with like kid gloves, so they don't want to review it or anything because they don't want to say anything negative. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to lie on your name.
It's kind of like how Star Wars with The Last Jedi, it wasn't just Disney and the product they made. It was the defense or the double standard. Like I was my first like YouTube following, like for me as a follower of someone, was Mike Zero before he got found out to be like a fraud. And then Chris Stuckman and Jeremy Johns. And I still watch Jeremy Johns, but Chris Stuckman, like, I'm a prequel guy. That's my Star Wars. OT is fine, but it's like I don't have the investment. Prequels is like my love of that franchise. And I've watched Red Letter Media. I've watched all these guys deep dives about why the prequels suck. And so I think of that when I rewatch those movies. I'm like, they got it wrong. It's not me being a fanboy. It's like I really take their criticism to heart because it's valuable. I just think they're totally missing it. But then like Last Jedi comes out and all those criticisms they would have for the prequels were like not even thought of for this film. And so you start seeing like, oh yeah. And these guys are lefties. So they got to like this movie, and you start seeing like there's kind of political angle to the defense of this film. And I think it's kind of the same where it's like Rippa's in league with them collectively. And so they can't say anything bad about him. Not even thinking of like the kind of maybe implicit racism, low expectations for Rippa. that I assume of these people. Not demonize them, but I think that's like a factor. But outside of that, I think it's just like they don't want to hurt their collective intertwined business and overlapping audiences, and so they got to shield him. And so I think it's really bad that they won't give it a fair review like they've done for all these other comic based properties, whether it's actual books or the films based on them.
So,
oh yeah,
my bad. You keep going.
No, that's all I had to say.
Well, okay. My response to that on your stream was, I understand what you mean by like, I guess them not having a conversation about the book and like really talking about it. I haven't seen that from any of the main guys, but I was looking at it like, okay, criticisms are to be had of the book, but when the books are coming out, there's so much hype and so many eyes on it that I can see how them not wanting to put anything out that is a criticism of the book, could be a negative criticism, but a criticism of the book, and have that weaponized against Ripper. That was truthfully my thinking as why I didn't review the book. But also because I wanted to wait till the third book comes out, and that way I can judge it as a whole story as opposed to picking it apart along the way. So I think, I can't speak for everybody, but I would say that that's probably their reasoning. And I think y'all do judge a lot of what they do based off of what you see. And I don't think people take into account that there's a real life off camera where these people, I would hope these people have given him honest criticisms of the book, because the criticisms that y'all have had of the book, he has improved on those by hiring other creative talent. We'll see what they do, but I think the criticisms have at least been addressed. And like, let's say when it comes to something with the 3D assets, I do think that he allowed his confidence in his team to cause him to assume that the artwork was totally original and done by his artist, as opposed to having technological assistance besides like maybe just a pen and a pad in an art program.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't blame her for his initial defense or whatever. A good assumption on Cliff's part of like being a true artist and not cutting corners with the 3D assets and so many things. It'd be one thing if like I suck at drawing buildings or I suck at drawing cars, so that is a trace, whatever. But it's like people have been deep diving, finding like so much from the SketchUp program that is in the book throughout repeatedly. And I want to say it was probably at least 2 or 3 months ago, Tony pointed this out in a big tweet of like the art or whatever. And there's just been this like blatant defense of like, no way, by him, and disregarding it. And I could see at first if like I never realized, and then he investigates, like as soon as that would pop up as me a creative, I'd be like, hey, are you like cheating essentially with my art? Like I'm trying to make real stuff to fight, make something better than the mainstream, and you're like cutting corners more than the mainstream for their deadlines month to month. This looks bad. And then, you know, he's blocked people for this being pointed out, and then goes on his stream and says, no, there's none of that. And then not even a week later makes that video like, yeah, Cliff does this. I wish he didn't, but it's whatever. It's a standard industry practice. And it's like, I thought your whole thing was like going against the industry's practices. And so it's like this kind of two-faced thing that's getting called out. And then people still like, oh yeah, he's great. And it's like, I don't know, like, how can we not criticize this? Because it's like, this goes beyond just like a normal Indiegogo or Kickstarter campaign of like, I'm a little guy, this is the art I can afford. So you cut people slack on the money, you know, aspect of like, yeah, it's not great art because this is indie, so you're like probably working a real job, and this is more or less a hobby that you're trying to get into professionally. You know, so like, yeah, there's all these levels where it's like, all right, this is his first story, I'll cut him some slack. But then you see his rhetoric about criticism. It's like, okay, Well, I'm not going to cut you slack because of how confident you are in yourself. The hiring extra people, that's not even a factor for me. It's like I view this as like this is his, whether it's like ISOM or AlphaCore, it's like this is his outline, if not his story, that they are like just sprucing up within their artistic role. So whether it's Chuck Dixon or not, it's like no, this is until it's like explicitly like I came with this character and I told him to write a story on it. When that happens, then the fire will go from Rippa to that guy on good or bad. But thus far, all three books have been Rippa. And so that's why like he gets the full brunt thus far, you know. Same with EVS, like I think people unknowingly come in and be like, well, you love EVS, so you're just going to be a blind faith defender for him. It's like, no, I've said on multiple streams, like, I think Cyberfrog 2 kind of sucks. The art is amazing, so it's worth the buy artistically. That's a great work of art, but I think the story is like completely whack in issue 2. Where I'm like, where is this going now? But EVS is totally open to criticism, or he'll be like, okay, well, like maybe that's not for you, but like this is, without spoiling, this is where I'm going. You know, he's receptive. That's been that's been the difference too, where it's like I've never had to go hard at EVS because he is receptive, or he's like, hey, you know what, I came up short, or I've been late, or at some point I gotta just put a pin in this and put it out, you know, warts and all, you know, all the flaws. That's really the difference of like, you're talking about two marquee names in this sphere of comic creation. This is also why you get a difference of reaction, you know. And it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, if Rippa just had any sense of humor, you know, even if he internalized it, like, fuck them, they fucking don't like my book, they don't like me, screw those bitches on Twitter, whoever it is, I totally get that resentment. But you know, through your whole respect the customer and the thing you're trying to create, it's like you just got to like take it on the chin and say, well, I hope you come back for 2. Hopefully you'll see an improvement. You know, just say a platitude, however disingenuous it truly is. This is part of the business thing of like, this is something that I think of where it's like, I will not like change my behavior on Twitter or YouTube as a creator. If that puts you off from buying, then like, well, that sucks, I guess. But like, you should respect me for not catering, you know, artificially. You know, I'm trying to be genuine. Totally fine with that. You know, I have so many disagreements with Rippa before this controversy with his politics in his videos, but I would still come back and watch. I'm like, all right, clearly this is stupid libertarian jargon. It's dumb to me, but he's got great points about other things. I don't need 100% agreement. I don't need people to be completely in line with me. I don't know. I try to be more rational, but it's just like so many layers with the Rippa saga that have been like, how can I be on this guy's side? And I'm still buying them despite the fact of all of this. It's like, I'm a good faith customer. I'm still buying it. The worst thing now for my entertainment is if the stuff started being, in my opinion, good, because I'm like, oh, that's boring.
You don't want to catalog his evolution and the growth.
No, I'll totally give him credit when that, if that happens. But
it's on the blood sports with you, Tony, because you retarded.
I love Tony.
He gave some money though, and
that's the thing. You're never going to see the Rippa defenders do that. Tony's equal opportunity, and that's that. Again, this is why our side is the right side, because we come to the table.
I'm not going to say that. I do appreciate this side's willingness to have the conversation. I appreciate, I'm going to say this. The shit that the drama farming, in quotes, that EVS is doing, it's still entertaining. And I do see the YouTube side, the content creation side of it, where it's like, this is just the internet. We are just having fun. And his criticisms, because he's a comic book creator, his criticisms have been valid. I will say that Rippa takes criticism. I don't agree with y'all on saying that, but I can agree with you thinking he has emotional responses to a lot of the stuff that people say. You probably not agree with his response on things, but I don't see him responding in a way that makes him a villain or warrants all of the negative attention that he gets. But again, I can see how, like with this situation with the art where he's been saying no and all of a sudden is saying yes, and I can see how y'all who have been looking for something will highlight that and point out and say
well, like
hold on. Have your response, but let me address Tony because he sent the money and he's a person of color.
Come on. What's up, fam? How you doing? All right. Never forget about that, because that's all we got.
All right.
I forgot my point. It'll probably come to me.
Well, this too, and I've told you this, and Dempsey said it earlier, like with God hates the sin, not the sinner. I don't hate individuals because I'm a follower of Christ. And I was talking to you about this. I'm not wired to hate someone, but I can hate their acts. I don't hate you all. I hate the energy that y'all are putting into another man's downfall.
Well, I think before I forget, so I interject. Okay. I think the energy is because so many of us were subbed and hopeful and happy for them. And I think collectively, for various reasons, we feel kind of betrayed or duped, that we've been hoodwinked, especially with like the Soska sister stuff. Like he's like, yeah, don't let these weirdos into your companies that like have a track record of agenda. And then, his like probably most sought after character after the initial ISOM before, we read it, Yaira. And it's like, it's written by activists. And so it's like, this seems
on that point though, he would say don't hire people because of this, because of their activism, because then you get that in the product. So I'm operating off of, he's not hiring them for the politics, and they understand that their politics should not take place in their creative endeavors, in their writing of the story. So I don't care about Yaira though. I won't be getting that book. I'm waiting on Blood Ruth. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a book that I am definitely going to get when it comes out. I'll wait for the reception of it and see more about the character. But yeah, I'm operating off of the politics won't be in the book. I'm operating off, is the Rippaverse company getting better with their art, getting better with their storytelling? Does this book expand the world? Not in a way that introduces more characters that I have to care about, but comes through on some elements that is already introduced in the world.
I think like he needs to get ISOM 3 out quick.
You said what?
I think he needs to get ISOM 3 out quick because that's kind of like the focal point to start it all.
I hope he wraps everything up in ISOM 3. I'm not going to say he needs to get it out quick.
I want to respond to Mike has bad knees. I'm not trying to destroy his business. I'm just pointing out how I see it, because like my first video, I'm like, be great. And I'm kind of like mocking the phrase of Eric. And it's like, rip a goalpost, share my thing. And people are thinking I'm retarded because I'm like, I'm buying every book, Eric. All 6 books you're releasing this year. I'm buying them. I'm going to wreck you by buying your book. And it's like, I'm purposely being like sarcastic. It's like, I'm buying your shit. So like the criticism's going to come because I'm going to be a backer. So this, because it all goes down to like bad faith is the term. And it's like, how's it bad faith when I'm like day one backing your shit, it's like, at some point, prove me wrong with your product, or the proof's in the pudding and I'm just stating it and you hate that, so it's like, I'm here day one as a customer to you blocked me, whatever. I'm still here. I don't need the respect the customer jargon. It doesn't matter. You got a product of interest to me. And I'm backing it. I can't wait. The Yaira, I think, is going to look great. That artist is hot and her art's pretty good. Kanan White's cover, I'm grabbing that. It just looks great, regardless of. I'm totally fine with Kickstarters, and stuff, comics just being visual and the story sucks. Lady Death's kind of like that. Lady Death is the most melodramatic contrived dumb plots to get, you know, girls in bikinis touching each other and fighting. It's just TNA, you know, it's surface level, but there will at least be the value in that. I hope they lean into that for Yaira and Bloodruth. But if story improves, like, I'm not gonna like nitpick the most minute things to tear him down. I'm not tearing him down if I'm paying him money for his stuff, is my point.
Yeah, I get that. Let me ask you this, because Tony asked, do I think Ripper owes anybody an apology that he said there was no 3D assets or whatever? In that same vein, do y'all think y'all owe Ripper an apology if these books improve and all the areas of criticism that y'all have, and it does become an actual force, a valid force in combating the mainstream? I'm not saying you have to or not. I'm just presenting it based off of the same logic.
I think it'd be great if it becomes a viable, you know, counter, a real, you know, it's just like, as much as like I don't like DC as like a template, their characters are gods versus Marvel's are characters that get powers. That's the real like dichotomy between those two companies. I want DC movies to be good story-wise and good at the box office to keep Disney honest, because Disney's coasted and now they're just tripping over themselves. But they can right the ship and DC can still suck. But DC doing good is the real thing that's going to like set things right. You know, so it's like, regardless of like Ripper as a person, it's like, I hope he can actually have a viable, you know, place in the industry to keep comics honest and have to compete to not lose readership. And I think he's coasting off of YouTube merch. That's a big problem. And he's thus far appears to have kind of wormed himself into this space based on a YouTube channel success and no real concern for quality. At the end of the day, storytelling is what's going to matter for the comic. There's plenty of comics that like have crappy art that are esteemed because the story, you know, that's what really lives past the art. The art gets you in the door, but the story is what, like, you know, makes the foundation of the home. And I don't think he really cares. And he's coasting because he's got, you know, pay pigs, essentially just devoted fans that are blind purchasers. That's fine. Everyone is trying to build that. That's great to have that. Props to him for making that. But if he's really trying to make a wave in the industry collective, I think he's just not invested really.
Okay, let me ask you this. Because a lot of y'all will say, and when I say y'all, I'm not saying you specifically, I'm saying people who I equate you with, but you know, I can look
we're
at
the
the
haters.
individual.
Yeah, we're the core. The coalition of anti-rippers. That's what I call us.
So, okay, so y'all will say to, let's say like a Geeks and Gamers or something, that that it's all negativity. They don't ever talk about anything positive. Well, again, with that same logic, I see nothing but negativity towards Ripper. So do you think you could, and I'm not saying you have to make this your content, what I'm saying, but I'm saying with that logic, I don't know if that's your logic or not, with that, couldn't y'all point out the pros as well as the cons to what Ripper is doing? Because if you say he doesn't respect the art form and is trying to put out an amazing comic before a good product, then what about the business side of it? Because as far as the parallel economy, we won't be a force against the mainstream. I don't think I have that forethought. But if a bunch of individuals are just making comics, whereas this guy is making an actual business, I think kind of like he's mentioned Todd McFarlane, creating that business and being this single guy that's come up and been able to have eyes on them. And then later on actually competing with the Marvel or DC. So with the way that, because I know the whole, I guess the way that he's selling his book as opposed to everybody else, like crowdfunding and everything, do you think that y'all could, or that there is something to learn as far as how he's selling the book or getting his product out there?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a great warehouse system, shipping. You know, he's a great He's made a great shipping company in the Rippaverse. Maybe he could be so valid that he becomes what Critical Blast has been for a lot of crowdfunding campaigns on a bigger scale, and thus maybe make catalogs of all the various independent companies that are on like the same bill on the same catalog for customers to see, like, oh, if you like Rippaverse, we also supply X books. Like Niobe, I think, sells some of his books through Antarctic Press, but he is his own company. If he became like an independent diamond distributor kind of company, like that'd be awesome. If he wants, I think he would try to force like ownership, at least like half and half, to do that though. So it's like Rippa has had the advantage of intermingling with a sphere that's like kind of like the Musketeers, all for one for all, and Rippa's kind of for himself, and that's fine. But this collective has helped him get more attention outside of his scope, and it doesn't seem to reciprocate unless there's like the advantage of like overlapping audiences or something. Like when Nerdrotic, when he makes his comic that apparently he's making, you're probably going to see Rippa shilling that on his channel. But it's like, I don't think he ever retweeted Cyberfrog. Ethan's helping him sell his book, and it's like, if you want to be selfish, that's fine, but he's benefited from unselfish people and not reciprocated. So that's another like just a version of like him as a company manager, whatever you want to call it, owner. It seems at best clouded of like how to interpret him. I think it's unfortunate. He would get a lot more good faith in him from lots of people if that was a factor in his strategy as well. Even if it's like, well, it doesn't necessarily benefit me, but for all pleasing our customers, there's like, why not like help each other shill our products to the same customer base? I think Rippa sees any other book as competition, which is like, to a degree it is, but it's like, there's no reason people can't be buying DC and Marvel, which I do, lots of readers do.
I disagree with that point where you say he sees everybody else as a competition, because I think that's what people are trying to make it out to be. Like this whole Game of Thrones situation where people saying Flash is sided with Rippa, and EVS and all the comics, he finding out the real soldiers and all that. He got moles and all of this shit going on. And I think the dramatization of it is just crazy. I don't think he sees people as a competition, because again, I've told y'all before, I don't see him go out of his way to bring negativity towards other people. So you say he's not bringing or reciprocating positivity, okay, but he is not putting out negativity towards people. He is not instigating any negativity towards people. That's why I think a lot of us feel like this is unwarranted, although he is aggressive with the way he says things, the way he delivers his message. He has not been aggressive to anyone from what I've seen, besides, let's say, a monetize your hater. And even with those are people that are online saying shit to him that he would like to address.
Yeah, that's probably fine. I'm not against that. I just think he like softballs himself, and he's kind of set himself up for failure by having gotten complacent doing that.
I can see that because I don't agree with the not mentioning EVS when all of us clearly know what the hell or who the hell he's talking about.
Yeah, it's like just shady. It's like, what, we know what you're talking about. We know you're talking about Vito. We know you're talking about EVS or Dick Masterson or whoever. It's like, I don't get. It's just it's confusing to say at least when it's like you put up this like hard persona, but then it's like, I'm going to talk around people. It's like that's womanly.
Yeah, I
don't mention any names, but that guy with these features that clearly states that person.
And the way EVS has just turned that into a joke is hilarious. I'm like, you can't help but
not many
to laugh with the dude. But that's because I think the shit he does is gay too. Like, it's both sides. I guess that's where
Rippa like can't. He has no sense of humor. He has no ability to like accept self-deprecation. And EVS is like, Yeah, I'm fat and gay. Haha, you got me.
Yeah,
it's like just that alone wins so much favor. Like I've had that in my recent like comments, or like we're clearly aggressors against each other, and then like they clown me. Like my name broke Black Mountain Angus reviews. That was from someone dissing me. I'm like, I want attention. I'm this and that. And I'm like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, wow. Like, at least you got a sense of humor. And so I made my name that. It's like kind of like a tip of the hat to the guy for his joke. Or someone's like, oh, I was going to tunnel under your house, but you're too fat. So cave in. It's like, you got me. I'm fat. You got me. And totally deflates, and it's not disingenuous either. Like I thought that was really funny interaction, and that deflates people from like, so it's like, it's a buildup of, I think, a lot of his own fans feel betrayed, that have come to the hater side, collectively. To various degrees, some people are just like, well, I'm not buying that shit anymore. And other people are like me and Tony, where we're like, we're coming after you, buddy. But if he does good, then I try to be honest, like if you watch my reviews of like the Marvels, yeah, it's got woke elements or whatever, things we, roll our eyes at. But I think there's some, ultimately it's disappointing because I love the Barbie movie. And then like Disney that owns all the princesses, they do a Disney princess kind of thing with Captain Marvel. And it's like so lackluster, it's just, I try to be a fair critic outside of my subjective. I try to distinguish those to my audience. And so I'm not running this as like, I am the hater channel. It's like when Ripper does something good or his books are good, regardless of him, I will give him all the credit. I think people get so entrenched that they're like, they see one take and it's like, well, he's just always going to have this, or because we have like Geeks and Gamers and stuff where it's like 20 videos about one thing reconstituted, repeatedly of like, they did this woke thing, we're gonna fucking smash them in the ground for it. And it's like, I try to be fair, I try to be rational. I'm just having fun and the memes are great.
I definitely understand the fun part. Like Flash said, he's on the side that's having fun. I will say that is what's attractive about y'all. And again, I hate the way y'all conduct yourselves and making the content, but y'all are engaging and y'all are laughing about the stream, and EVS is laughing about the stream, and Ripper is taking it like more seriously. But with that,
yeah, we're talking about
hold on. Because Mike said this, and I think this is where it all comes from. I do think EVS was wrong in responding to what y'all call a night letter. Boy, y'all try to make anything he do aggressive and evil as fuck. I think that was the response that started all of this, though. And I think Ripper is responding in the way that he is because of how the situation has been handled. So in his mind, EVS revealing the message was just another person that's giving him shit because they don't like him for whatever reason and they really hate his success and think he's undeserving of it. So, I mean, y'all point out a lot of what you think Ripper is doing wrong, but I don't really, just like y'all say, we don't say anything negative about Ripper. I don't see y'all saying anything negative about that situation. But from what I'm hearing is because y'all think he was justified because he was responding to an attack. But a lot of us don't see it as an attack. I still don't believe it's an attack. So what are your thoughts?
I think we just disagree on that. And I think, this all started because Dick Masterson's on Nick Rekieta's stream with the Infinity, and she challenged him to read it because he, assesses the situation. And people don't realize because, they see newer biggest problem clips or something. And it's like, haha, Ripper sucks. He's stupid. Let's laugh at him. They don't see the older streams before that when it was only Vito was like the only notable person with doubts and reservations and criticisms of Ripper. And he's a leftist to some degree. And so it's like, well, he's an SJW. So he's a fat retard, whatever. Dick was clowning him. The chat would clown Vito. They loved trolling him in support of Ripper. And then Dick gets challenged to read the book when he's like, I think it's a grift. I think it's like, no one's talking about the book. They're talking about it made money. and like that's a bad sign to me that this actually isn't good. And it's like, well, you haven't read it. So he read it and did the review, and then that pissed everyone off that he had such concise, in-depth criticism having read it. And then it just kept escalating from that of, well, this is bad faith, or, and just seeing the continuous behavior, and then the lawsuit, definitely the way Ripa responded to the lawsuit and then tried to point the blame on Dick and Vito for it when there's no proof. He even stated on a Ricada stream like a month or two after the fact of clearly pointing the finger at them, laying a narrative of like, this is clearly them and their pawns starting this lawsuit against me. And he's proven wrong. Things like that. It's a cumulative. It's not just, oh, he sent this text. There's a stream on Flashcast where EVS is trying to use this to like have them come to the table and discuss and actually see the merit of the criticism, and that becomes a shit show. EVS is sitting on this for a while. It clearly instantly bothered him, but he sat on it and he's like, well, we're of like mind generally. There's a business aspect to it of like, this isn't going to help me to go against Ripa. And so the fact that this is 2 months old when he released it, I think it's, whether it's good or not, I don't know if I would do that. I can clearly say that I don't know if I would spill the beans in that way, but I think seeing the behavior over time with Ripa against opposition, especially with the church, and deeming them fake Christians because they're suing them for trademark issues. I think that's why this has come to where it's gone with EVS in particular. Yeah, I can totally see like, oh, you leaked the text or whatever. Yeah, I don't know if I would do that, but he has this whole history of DC and people stabbing him in the back, so he's moving differently than maybe you would 10 years ago.
But with that though, and we talked about it on your stream, the response of him being canceled by a DC, I can understand how that thought would cross his mind and how it could look similar. But again, I think the emotional maturity that these two men should be able to have, if he has an issue with the text, then he calls Ripa and say, bro, hey, what you mean by this? And then they can have an understanding. And I think Tony was saying, well, Ripa could have called him instead of sending a letter like with an ultimatum. Well, I think that text message is just, I don't know what position you are in right now. I don't know if you're available for a phone call. I have these thoughts. Men have emotions. We should be able to express them. I think Ripa saw that as I'm expressing them. I don't like how you backed up this guy who's been attacking me. Now, you can have issues with that and say that he wasn't attacking him. It was criticism. I think Eric was looking at it like, well, this dude has had issues with me for a while. So this is just more of the same that I don't care to listen to. I understand that, but at the same time, I understand EVS was like, well, no, you need to listen because there could be something good from this criticism. But the emotional response of Eric July, which I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with, is you got all these people for so long constantly going at you. I don't think any of us have any idea of the shit that he's had to go through with the responses to where now it's just like, he's like, okay, instead of trying to cipher through all of this shit, I just need to cut all of it off and just focus on doing me. So I think that's what's causing him to respond in the way that y'all disagree with.
I would give that more merit if he didn't already build his channel how he did and responding to anybody how he does before his comic. Like he's already built himself up in a way and responding to detractors of his commentary, his views, what he supports, hitting back and stuff. And so I think he set himself up for failure because he was willing to engage in this kind of thing before when it wasn't really tied to his company, and now he's like, I think clearly having second thoughts in hindsight. Maybe I should have done things different because I've warranted people to come at me this way, given how I've come at stuff. So I don't think it's the same as just a guy that hasn't really had a presence on the internet and then he puts out a book and then he starts getting beef from people. I don't think it's the same. It's like he's positioned himself in such a higher level, being a vocal person versus just a like, I want to make something and I got money and I do it and now I'm getting all this pushback. Oh man, so
Angus,
I try to assess this in the whole spectrum in my whole knowledge base. Where are my blind spots?
Angus, I feel you, bro. But like I said, Eric is not giving energy out that wasn't already put out towards him. So I've never seen Eric tell anybody go put yellow tank muscly men emojis in your chat, but EBS sending chickens in the chat. I see that, bro. That's like sending negative energy towards somebody.
It's just a troll,
I know.
He had a great response to that, or like they didn't really know what's going on with the chickens exactly, but then they find out and it's like that's funny.
I agree with that. I agree with the trolling. Eric is not about.
Eric would ban those people. He was banning people for bunnies and turtles in the chat.
Will Eric ban them, or is Eric's team banning people?
Because they're doing it on his behalf. So
I don't know if he's actually saying it, because in his video he said like he'll take the brunt or take the consequences of an action that one of his teammates did or conducted or whatever. But he does leave the job that he hired them for up to them. So I think that those are other people banning y'all or DMCA striking all this other shit. And I mean, of course, he said he'll
I'll
take
give him that. It was things like that. If it wasn't directly him, at least at the impetus, he's like the coach on a football team. At the end of the day, we lost because I coached bad. That's like the platitude you say. But he's responded about the strikes on like the Riley and Tony, and justified it. And so when they're not, it's like Riley would have a great case to sue Ripa if he had the money to sue him for parody, because the US has great free speech laws in regards to parody and the issue of copyright. Riley would win hook, line, sinker on that if he actually pursued it.
Why so?
Because Riley made the Clipaverse merch that got taken down as copyright infringement. It's like, no, it's not. They've redone the logo to be a meme on shaving you. It totally falls in line with parody law.
Okay. Nah, man, Ripper just doesn't have that personality, and I think y'all want him
really
to
hurts
behave.
him. That really hurts him.
I can definitely see that.
You're talking about like a fundamental. I know he doesn't believe in free speech because the only laws he believes in is property rights, whatever, like that silly jargon. But given that, it's like you're talking about like a fundamental, like across the board American. This is the first thing we thought of in our Declaration of Independence and our Constitution is freedom of speech and all the facets of that. And then you're like directly, forcing someone out with their free speech. I
get what you're saying, bro. I get what you're saying. I think everybody understands that we believe in free speech, but
if Riley wasn't attached to the biggest problem, if he was just like a lone guy that didn't have association with Dick and thus veto with the biggest problem, that people will be way more outraged at what Ripa did to him with the store. But because he's associated with a proverbial SJW, then it's okay, whatever, I think that cognitive dissonance of the fandom is a real problem, and this is why it continues to be drama.
Yeah, I think like that's, I don't know, man, because Sean, I don't have an issue with it. Like, yeah, I did like Jeremy's response. Like, just let the chat go at it. I would much rather laugh at people in my chat going at somebody else and like the terrible comments.
Well, think of that, Nag, when people do this to Star Wars and Disney, DC, whatever the case. It goes both ways. It's like you're viewing Ripaverse as just Ripa, and it's like, no, he's making a business entity that wants to reach those heights. it's like, don't give, it's like, you got to judge them fair. And it's like, it doesn't get confusing because it's like Kathleen Kennedy doesn't like engage the public besides through corporate, events like a movie release or Star Wars Celebration. But, it's like he has put himself on the internet. And so he's kind of the face of his brand he's made. And it's through direct engagement. And so he's opened himself up for this, especially with his clear shortcomings, with to say the least.
Man, so yeah, BA, I don't know, I guess you heard or he listened because Dempsey said something about him earlier.
I gotta get BA on a stream at some point. I've been thinking of you, BA. I just like trying to figure out my schedule, because month to month I go night and day with my work schedule. So it's like this coming week's gonna be difficult figuring out when I'm doing an all-American beef stream.
IJP, I think you meant consequences. That's a real thing, bro. You have the freedom to say whatever you want, but if somebody feel like they should punch your ass or some shit, then that's different. I'm not saying people should definitely go to jail over just saying some shit. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Dempsey. I figured that people who are in on this should be here for it. I hope that you aren't of the mind that we hate you. I know I don't. Yeah, BA, we didn't like that you put that evil on us, bro, because we don't operate like that. Again, hence, I'm having conversations with you, with BA, Black Angus, Mad Max, who else? A lot of y'all people that fucking hate Ripper, bro, and it's crazy. But it seems like, I'm not going to say y'all are the only ones open for conversation, but I don't see a real point in talking to the same people all the time who agree and not getting perspective of the people we talk shit to online. BA, chickens in the chat. All right, we're gonna have to get those wolf emojis real quick for when we go troll somebody. Who's in the chat?
I'm gonna have to leave because I get ready for my stream.
Don't leave. We having fun.
No, I'm having fun with you. Unfortunately, but I do gotta get ready. I gotta take a shower because I don't want to sit in my funk for another possibly 6 hours.
Nah, I feel I'm going through the same shit right now, bro. In the shower.
No, I got just you're a good host, good chat.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, we had a good conversation over here. We have fun with the drama.
Yeah, me too. Clearly.
All right, bro. I'm gonna let you go. How you want to leave up out of here?
I thank you for hosting me. Thank you for reaching out. Again, I was very flattered, given my history from years ago, that it's stained me, I guess, in this sphere that I still partake in. I like what you're doing. I like the energy you have and your respective role, what you're doing. I'm very interested in whatever your comic's going to be. I'll definitely back it. I know you had the GoFundMe. I think you should be pushing it in your chat, at least beginning and end. Push your GoFundMe. Help this guy. Super chat him like Tony did. A Rippa hater is super chatting AJ, defender of Rippa. You fans should be doing more than us haters. So support AJ in his time of need as well.
Bro, something. My bad. I will agree with that, though. I do see you fucking haters coming out the woodwork. And a lot of people will say that. Like, I think the success that y'all have acquired will not be sustained for long. I do agree with that. But I do like how you guys do. It sucks, the reason for y'all doing it, but y'all will come together and support one another. It's disgusting that y'all just a big group of haters, but y'all do come together and support. And I think a lot of us are like, even with the Ripper support thing, like a lot of people will support him, but nobody's having the real conversations about the points being presented. But I also look at us like the newer generation of content creators. Again, you've been here longer than me, but we are not those giants. So like how they were the who was the one Flash with the metal tin over his head? Older Batman, not really. You get what I'm saying? Like the JLA, the Justice Society. Yeah, the Justice Society. And like us, we're the Justice League or the New Mutants or some shit. And I'm trying to pay attention to what they did, learn from that, the good and the bad, and how do we go forward? Because I don't plan on being in a whole bunch of infighting and all that. all that shit. So yeah, man, I am trying to conduct myself better, or at least know exactly what it is that I want from this YouTube thing and get into it.
Yeah, I will not say it, Tim, but thank you for hosting me again. Support AJ, hit him up for commission possibly. If not, his GoFundMe, and maybe you'll see in my chat. I'm going on about 30 minutes reviewing or reacting to EVS's ISOM 2 review, so that should be fun. Have some guests on there, and yeah, see you around. Thank you again for hosting me, and can't wait to watch some more of your stuff. Take care.
All right, bro. Peace. That man had to go. He got the fuck up out of here. I've never seen that before. Y'all know I'm gonna say. Now y'all ready to talk shit about Black Angus now? Since he left. Raylos should Minecraft themselves. Yeah, y'all. I got the GoFundMe. I don't want to push it on a Saturday stream. Because it's not about me. It was about our guests and our conversation. So I'll do that Tuesday. But yeah. So fucked up shit been happening. Need some help. And I ain't got no book to sell, y'all. I got some merch though. Maybe I should put that there too. Support the boy. Help me out. I'm doing artwork for a lot of people. I got a lot of commissions. So if you are here and all that, if you got commissions, I am cataloging all of y'all right now and prioritizing whoever paid first. So yeah, y'all, that's what's going on. What else? We did go past the 2-hour mark pretty easily. I will get out of here. I like that this isn't an echo chamber, but I tire of drama quickly. Yeah, and I don't want to bring the drama over here on this channel, but I do want to talk about it. I think I like to say you got to go through bees to get to the honey. Like you got to, I guess, have the hard conversations to get to a solution instead of just talking at each other, but still allowing things to progress in a way that they do with all the negativity in the air. Get a commission from AJ, DM him and pray he doesn't block you. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? What is something that you like, AJ? The fuck you mean? What is something that I like? I like a lot of shit. I just talked about goddamn furryism and animal characters for a little while. I like a lot of stuff. What else? What else do we talk about? Nothing. I think it was a good conversation. More people who support Ripper should have these conversations with those that hate him. Because I think those guys are loud. They are the vocal majority, and their words are being heard more than ours. Ripper supporters should actually believe in the things that they say and back it up and be willing to have that conversation with those who are willing. That's all I got. I meant that as a way to go to a positive place. We positive, bro. We chilling. AJ is a furry confirmed. I'm furry adjacent. LG. And I need to see you on the stream with Tony, the frog man. Renowned Zero. Y'all want me to facilitate it? I'll do it, bro. I'm the moderator. I ain't got shit to say. I've said what I had to say. Y'all can stream to your own channels and whatnot. I'm not trying to keep all the revenue and watch hours and all that, but let's talk about it. They are not, LG, I can't give you that, bro. They are not the vocal minority. Everywhere you see online is somebody hating Ripper, but I don't see Ripper supporters really coming together, talking about what they want to see from this universe. I know it happens in some places, but it's not prevalent, and it should be. There you go. That's all I got. It's 10 fucking people in here. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for having the conversation. I would get better about putting out this goddamn link so more people can be up in here. Somebody make sure, AJ, get on your shit, bro. We don't see no link for Tuesday's show. Tighten up Tuesdays. So what's the topic tonight on Circle of Jerk? Copa. Y'all, I got both sides of my chat, man. It's funny. And it's funny when y'all go at it. Like Nosferatu and Mike. They want more. BA, come on, bro. Be more creative. We passed the art shit. Take one more 3D assets and bad writing. Yo, there's something to learn from what Ripper's doing, something positive to learn from what he's doing. Let's talk more of that. Circular Jerks is canceled, probably. Man, I don't know, man. I think Zax was saying Flacid's supposed to be hosting. I might be hosting. The rest of the jerks don't care about this this shit. Unless y'all want to respond to a EVS stream. Dude is funny. Who canceled? I'm a busy boy. There you go, BA. See there? You free to spout all the Ripper hate that you want. You ain't being disrespectful, bro. I don't care about y'all trolling and making jokes. Do that, bro. We having fun. We don't hate you, BA. Tim Stream. There you go. There you go. IJP, come on the Circular Jerks tonight. We miss you. I can't speak for them. But when I leave, then they instantly get you. So it ain't haters, criticism. I know, man. You can do that. Y'all, I got nothing for you. Yeah, I was working on my stuff, and then this shit happened. So now I'm working on pure commissions for the next few months, it seems. And hopefully some more come through. I like bad rights. Go be careful. This sounds like World Builder. Eagle Finger. Okay, so Zach's hosting. And I can host. We'll see. Y'all, how do I want to leave, y'all? How do I want to leave? Take myself out. Throw some commercials. Now I'm doing Toonami. I didn't play a whole Toonami early. I'm getting my Toonami out. Y'all, I enjoyed this show. I'm looking to have more guests. People reach out to me. It's not an ego thing where I don't want to reach out to people. You have to talk to me and be approved to come onto the stream. It's just I'm bad with scheduling. And I just reach out to whoever I think will engage with the topics that I have and who will make who will have a good conversation. Gorilla for sale. Got a gorilla for sale. I'm playing my other commercials first because Magilla Gorilla is the only one that I get copyright struck for. It's not a strike. It's just a warning notice or something. People on for clout. Yep, EVS will be on here at some point. Flaccid. You attached yourself to a better black. Unlike that BVS dude that was on Black Anger stream when we had that conversation. I'm just talking shit. I'm throwing shots at people. Claim is way different than strike. Yeah, it's just a claim. Y'all, it take me forever to leave because I really don't want to leave. I just want to load this bowl up. Get back to conversing with y'all. That combo was intense. The other one, yeah, Tim, you was in there. I like that, Tim. You all over the place, bro. We're not choosing sides, man. We're not on no tribalism shit. We're just trying to have fun on YouTube. Gotta go. We leaving too, Kobe. You're not special. It was good. I didn't know Black Angles was by. I didn't say it on the stream, and he can hear it. I don't give a fuck. He was responding to some shit, and I was like, bro, that's kind of gay. I ain't judged though. Flaccid. Oh shit, bro. I watched the episode of Seinfeld yesterday where they was talking about it was a whole gay episode. I think Jerry and who's the short bald dude? Going bald dude, his friend. And they the chick at the shop, a little diner, thought they was gay, and Elaine was like hyping them up to be gay. Like that whole stream, and they kept on saying, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's what they were saying. There's nothing wrong with that. That was hilarious. George, yeah, him. Not that there's anything. Yes, bro. That was perfect. And they just kept it going. And then how did it end? Was it Kramer? Kramer, is that his name? And then what do you say? The phone dude, attractive man, came through the door with him, and they was looking like, what? And then he came. He was like, he's a phone guy. And then he closed the door and come back. Not that there's in it. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. George Costanza. Yeah, bro, I know him. George Costanza. And then what happened? The dude came in and started giving the patient the sponge bath. And he was like, man, I never paid attention to this before. But, you know, he was starting to think, do I like this right now? That episode was hilarious. All right, y'all. I'm going to leave now. It's been fun. Thank y'all for coming. Peace. I'm winging it, y'all. I'm about to wing this one.
You guys seen that Flash trailer?
Yeah.
It looks good.
It looks awful. Awesome. Yeah.
You think it looks awful? Really?
No, I misspoke. I think it looks awesome.
Sometimes you suffer great misfortune for believing in something too much. There are times that it's tough to believe in anything at all.
Kingdoms rise and fall. Lifetimes come and go. Are any of us here long enough to even make a difference?
Pangea has fallen!
We're in over our heads, okay?
What should I be doing? That's something you have to decide. I can't do this alone.
Make the maneuver!
There's no time!
Okay, hang on. Now don't die! Don't die!
And what about you? Are you ready to die yet?
I don't know what I should do.
Keep moving, whatever it takes. Even if the way ahead lies through a river of blood.
Take your best shot. I'll give it back to you 1,000-fold.
Now you're finally making sense.
While we're here, we live to the fullest.
Well, I only play for the fighting. I appreciate the expansive multi-tier environments and the 16 characters with the pixel shading bump mapping and the rich plot development. Seriously, why else would I play it? She kicks eye. Rated T for teen.
Hello, welcome to Toys R Us. Can I help you?
I doubt it. I've been everywhere and I can't seem to find... Is that Coco my walking pup?
Oh, well, yes it is.
Drive, throw stuff, switch. For a limited time, get Mario Kart Double Dash free when you buy a Nintendo GameCube for $99.99. Rated everyone.
We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. Won't you buy him, take him, try him? We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. Don't you want a gorilla you could call your own? A little gorilla be with you when you're all alone. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. Don't you call him a monkey, he don't got no tail. And if he did, then Magilla the monkey would be for sale. With shoes on his feet, suspenders, and a hat on his head. There's not much about our dear little gorilla that hasn't been said. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. Except for Mr. Peebles, he don't like primates. Magilla gorilla just isn't a mammal with whom he relates. He'll sell you a cat or a dog or a bird or a tiny goldfish. But down deep beside Mr. Peebles, he's got himself only one wish, saying, we got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. There's a girl called OG and she wants to buy a little gorilla from Peebles, he ain't asking why. Just get that thing out my window, you can hear him cry. But she's got no money, Mr. Peoples almost died. Saying, we got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. Won't you buy him? Let's take a gorilla for try him. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. Won't you got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. Won't you got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale. We got a gorilla for sale, Magilla gorilla for sale.
So I'm not sure I get you.
Give me a real fight.
Any of you guys read that chapter in The Art of War about misdirection?